And it's like a sensory thing for me. Like if my clothes are too constricting, it kind of like drives me insane.
Right, right, right.
So,
Yeah, usually for work, I'll either wear like I have a few dresses I like what are they called, like wrap dresses for work because they
yeah, uh-huh.
always look really classy.
Mhm.
Or like I'll wear like either like capris or some like nice pants and again because I am not a small chested woman, it's very difficult to find button up shirts to wear that don't
Yeah,
gape open.
unfortunately,
So
yeah.
usually I'll wear something like I have a niche like usually what I do is like I'll find a shirt that looks good on me and I'll buy it in all the colors.
Yeah, yeah, I do that too.
So yeah, I have like four shirts that actually are kind of similar to the top of that dress I was wearing, except they have like sleeves. They're short sleeves rather than
Mhm. Mhm.
straps, and they're comfortable and I can move around in them, and
Mhm.
I'm they look nice, and sometimes I'll even wear a vest over them. Like I
Yeah.
have a few like waistcoat coat kind of things, and I love
Yeah.
that look. I love that kind of like academia kind of look, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I think it's because there was a time that I did go to a school where I did have to wear a uniform, and I kind of liked
Mm.
it.
Mhm. Yeah. At least you didn't have to worry about what you were gonna wear, right?
Right, right. And it was nice too because at that time, Human Family did not have a lot of money.
Mm, yeah.
So, like, that way, like, I just had to wear the uniform, and the kids wouldn't be able to tease me that I didn't have the nicest clothes,
Yeah.
you know?
Um, I almost wish that clothes weren't so gender specific.
Yes.
'Cause, like, how cool would it be to just, like, be able to wear whatever you want without having people judge you for it? Like,
Right, right.
I love seeing guys wear skirts and dresses and stuff like that. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
so cool, and if it wasn't such a because of where I live, being a small town that's very
Mm-hmm.
conservative, like, I don't want people to really look at me very often,
Right,
you know what I mean? Like,
right,
I kinda wanna fly under the radar more often than not, so
right. Yeah.
I wouldn't wear a dress in public, but, like, if it was a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more accepted, I kinda want to, you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I would kinda wanna wear a dress because 'cause they're so comfy, and it's, like, one piece
right,
of clothing that
right.
instead of having,
Like,
like, 4 things that you have to put on or whatever.
I think kilts look so classy
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
men. Like, what the heck? Like, and
Yeah.
I think this concept of men wearing pants or shorts only is relatively recent. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm an old dragon from the 1500s, Shakespeare's day.
Mhm.
When you go to when you went to like a church, then the men who were like, the priests and stuff, they all wore robes. They didn't
Right,
wear pants, they wore robes.
right.
Like, this concept of men wearing only pants or shorts is recent history,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I love that I do see guys like a little more being like, hey, this kilt, it's
Mhm.
appropriate for men to wear, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
for
wear
sure.
it.
Yeah. I'm going to the Renaissance Festival in a couple weeks,
Ooh, nice.
and we're going during Highlander weekend,
Mm-hmm.
so I am going to wear a kilt to the Renaissance Festival.
Lovely.
I
Oh,
bought
I'm
one
sure
last
you'll
year
rock
because
it.
we went the same weekend last year. We
Uh-huh.
went to Highlander weekend as well, and, I'm going to wear the same kilt that I wore last year, but yeah,
There's
it
a
was a lot of
box in the
fun. It was
middle of
very
the
comfortable, actually.
Uh-huh. There's a
And I
box
and
in the middle of the floor here.
there's a what?
A box.
Oh.
Did
Hmm.
Bartholomew, whatever his name is, leave it in the middle of the floor or something?
Maybe, I don't know. Um, something else too, like, being trans, like, I grew up wearing dresses and stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, it was so uncomfortable for me then just because, like, I never really felt like it fit me
Mm-hmm.
as a person. Like,
Right.
this was obviously before I knew that I was trans,
Mm-hmm.
but, like, I always felt so uncomfortable buying, like, typically female clothing.
Right. Right.
Um, just because like it just made me so uncomfortable for some reason. But like I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
if it wasn't so gendered, like if it wasn't so like women wear dresses and men wear pants, like
Mhm.
I feel like I would have not have had that much of an issue with it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But it's just like it was so
Right.
embarrassing for me. Like I felt so much like I want to say that like cringe. Like I would
Mhm.
just like internally cringe anytime I
Right.
had to like buy um
Right. Right.
clothes.
Well, you know where I went to college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we Ocha and I have talked about this. I'm not going to say exactly where because
Mhm.
privacy. But yeah, the school I went to, we had a lot of guys who wore dresses. There was
That's
one
great.
summer there where this guy wore not pretty much all he wore throughout the summer was like a you know what sumo wrestlers wear.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
what he wore all summer. Nobody
Wow.
made a big deal about it.
Yeah.
Now, given there were other things that were weird things that people did, was like they wouldn't bathe and they smelled horrible, and that was especially
Yeah.
awful in the summer when you were sitting in a
Yeah.
hot classroom and people just smelled terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with a little hygiene, my friends. Like,
Yeah. I
you're not being counterculture because you're not taking a shower. You're just, making people uncomfortable.
yes.
Now,
Exactly.
I can understand, like, when people are depressed,
Mhm.
sometimes they don't feel good, and so they don't take very good care of themselves, and that
Yeah.
happens.
That's different.
But, if you're just doing it because you think it makes you different,
Yeah.
like, it's kind of strange.
Yeah, I went
We,
to a vocational high school and I was in computer science and that
mhm.
was more common than you would like to think.
Yeah, yeah,
People not showering or not using deodorant and stuff like that. And I've been to conventions where it's been an issue too, like anime conventions.
yeah,
Yeah, I wish
yeah,
people took a little bit more care in their personal hygiene.
yeah. Luckily, the area where I live, the conventions are pretty small.
Mhm.
So, it's not so awful. Like, people are pretty spread out. So,
Yeah.
like, you don't get a lot of that hygiene stuff
Mhm.
so bad. But, I mean, like, I did go to Otaku-thon this year, and yeah, that was pretty full. Luckily, nobody was particularly smelly
Yeah, I
that
think it's
I
gotten better
interacted
at
with.
conventions in the past few years because it kind of became a bit of a meme.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
there was people that would walk around with deodorant and like um
Right.
make jokes about it.
I saw somebody post on Twitter that they made Hatsune Miku deodorant stickers and put them on deodorant bottles and they were selling them
Yeah.
and they sold out.
Wow.
They were really popular.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely become a meme at anime conventions to joke about
Yeah.
personal
I
hygiene.
mean, in conventions in general. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I've been to all kinds of conventions. It's like, yeah, we're breathing each other's sweat after a
Mhm.
certain
Mhm.
point. So, like, at least make sure it's not so gross smelling. Thank
If you
you.
can't take a shower, at least put on deodorant. Like
Right, right,
that's my thing. Like, deodorant, you can get a cheap one. You can get one from the dollar store.
right,
It's gonna
right.
work. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be better than nothing.
Yeah.
So, uh, man, I kind of want to go back to an anime convention at some point, but I don't know
Yeah, yeah.
which one I want to go to. There's a couple that I could go to. There's one in January and one in August.
There's,
In the city that I used to go to.
right. There's one kind of locally that may be coming up soon that I was thinking of seeing if I can be a guest.
Oh, that would be fun.
Like I know I'm not huge enough yet that I'd
Hmm.
have a lot of people show, but I mean, it's worth trying. And at least
Yeah,
I'd have some fun and maybe get to know some people and
I
you
think it
know.
would be cool to do a like a VTubing panel, like talking about how to get started in VTubing.
Mhm. Right, right.
Like I would like to like from my perspective having like being like doing your own art and your own rigging and stuff like that.
Right, right,
And like your own like marketing and everything, and getting started
right,
and
right.
figuring out like your stream schedules and things like that. Like I think that'd be a really cool thing to
Oh my
teach
gosh, we just
people.
had triplets. But yeah, because I think one of the cool things about the anime or the VTuber community is you have so many people are creative at different kinds of things.
Yeah.
Like I've been really tempted to see if I could get a VGen code so I can, advertise myself writing lore for people. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an award-winning author. You could do worse
Yeah,
having
sure.
lore written by an award-winning author,
True,
you
true, true.
know. I know
Hmm.
that Meriwether has written lore for people,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And I was reading his stuff on Webtoon before he was even VTubing,
Yeah.
and I
He's so
I
cool. Like
I totally appreciate the grind. He's hilarious.
yeah, he's like he's funny, he's charismatic,
Mhm.
he has an awesome job or jobs.
Mhm.
Like he does VTubing on the side, but he has like a big enough following to where it's really cool. Like
Right, right.
I don't
Like
know,
his
he's such a
his
cool person.
he's brilliant at marketing too. Like
Yeah, he's
he
so good at what he does.
right, right.
I would kill for like an ounce of his talent.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And he's one of those people also who he could not handle a normal day-to-day job.
Yeah, yeah.
Hang on. My phone is ringing again. It's human mother. Just a
Okay.
moment.
Yep, take a moment.
That was so cute.
Yeah.
So, human mother told me that some people that we know just had their baby,
Aw.
and my pen name is
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Brennan, and
Mm-hmm.
they named their baby Charlie. So I'm
Aw.
like, haha, classic name.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, that's awesome. Babies are cool.
Yeah, yeah, babies are fun.
It's
Although I
it,
think babies are more fun when they reach like about 1 years old, when you can interact with them more.
yeah, that's
Because like when
true.
they're
But
first born,
like
they're just kind of little
yeah,
Play-Doh people.
I just like the excitement that you
Mm-hmm.
get from like, like baby showers and like planning like your nursery and like all this stuff. Like it's such a cool
Yeah,
thing to like
yeah,
to witness and
yeah.
to like be a part of sometimes.
Right. Oh my gosh, I just realized that we're pretty much closed right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. All right, so let's stock shelves.
I started in freezers, so if you want to
Okay.
start like hygiene again and work your way, we'll meet in the middle.
All right, we'll do.
Um, we're gonna have to spend a lot of money again today because we're like out of a lot of stuff in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to keep everything stocked in the back so that we don't really have to worry about what's on the shelves.
Right, right. I did notice
So
I had to buy more toilet paper
yeah,
throughout the
toilet
day.
paper is the only thing. We might have another storage shelf in the back that's just for the toilet paper, and
Mm-hmm.
we can put like we could just fill the rows with the toilet paper or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. The paper of the toilet. Yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
definitely need both toilet papers.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
we need at least two for each day because they're such a
Yes.
bulky item.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Precisely. Oh, I almost walked into our lovely cashier. Sorry, miss. You're doing a really good job. Thank you.
Okay, so that's all
I
done. I can
appreciate
go
you and your
this way.
service. Meh. Excuse me, pardon me.
Mm,
Okay, there's a trend that
mm-hmm.
VTubers do that I think actually Mary started that
Yeah.
actually irritates me.
What's that?
It's like when people post something like "Hello, say it back," and I'm like, so like, and the reason why it gets to me
Uh-huh.
is I am stubborn as, I'll get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say a worse word, but I felt like I did. Maybe I won't say that worse word. But
Yeah.
like I'm stubborn. If somebody
Hmm.
tells me to do something, I'm not gonna do it. Like if they
Right.
ask me to do it, oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
I'm just stubborn. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it just because you tell me to do it. So
Right.
like, I'll look at those posts and I'll like look at it like, the Anya like icelet thing
Yeah.
from.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll look at it like that, and then I'll just like no, and then I'll move on.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm mostly pretty easygoing, but
Hmm.
like there are some things where I'm just like, I'm stubborn. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I feel like I have a right to. I am a dragon. You
Right.
know,
Right. Right.
I'm allowed to be a little bit, rigid. I feel like, I'm an old
Yeah.
dragon. I'm from Shakespeare's time. Oh my
Right.
gosh, what just happened there? Um, but yeah, like I'm not gonna do what people tell me to do just because they do it. Like, like
Yeah.
on the was it the BDSM test?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like the thing is I'm kind of not either dominant
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
submissive. I can kind of be. It depends.
Yeah.
So I'm like weird that way. Like I have my little things where I'm like, no, 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 and it's
Yeah.
not because there's anything wrong with it. It's just because it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna be in control here. This is the
Yeah.
thing I'm in control of. This other thing, I don't care.
Yeah.
If you want to take control over this thing, hey, go for it. I am all about that. But like for anything else, I'm like, for certain things, I'm like, no, no, I'm not gonna do that. That's just me. You know.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you scored pretty highly in the brat category.
Well, it's funny because Rourke used to call me brat number one.
That's so
So
funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I guess. I mean, I don't think of myself as a particularly bratty person, but
Yeah.
like I just have things. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
Well, in the
No.
BDSM world, that's kind of what you would be
Right,
called. It'd
right,
be a brat.
right, right. I'm like, yeah.
Anybody who kind of talks back and like does their own thing, but
Mhm.
also, kind
Yeah.
of being a bit of both,
This is
submissive and dominant.
why I will probably never be a good match in the military. I just like I
Yeah.
question everything. It's just who I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
I ask questions. I think it's partly because I'm just very academic.
Mhm. Mhm.
I want to learn. I want to know. I want to think about things. I don't want to just take things for granted.
Right.
You know, and like again, all respect to people who who do have that kind of personality where they can handle you know being in the military. Like,
The rigidity of it.
there's reasons why people have certain jobs and why there are certain
Mhm.
jobs out there, and I will
Yep.
respect the heck out of people who can do those kind of jobs.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, and I think that's why I've tried a lot of different jobs. I mean, I've done everything from being an actual counselor to
Mhm.
helping start a sheep farm.
Yeah.
And I've been a nanny, and I've been a teacher, and I've been like all kinds of things. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
to me it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna just try one thing. I'm that Shakira song. Try everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
the personification of that song,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I feel like I'm kind of the same way. For every job that doesn't require a degree,
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I've tried everything that, I could do as a person who does not have a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've done retail. I've actually worked at a plasma clinic before,
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
um, taking testing people's blood before they would actually donate plasma.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in kitchens. I've worked in craft stores. I've done a little bit of everything that you could think of to do that
Mm-hmm.
is like a part-time job kind of a thing, I guess.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's fun to just like, I think the world is too interesting to
Yeah.
not do a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah. At least
I
see
and
like what you like.
Right. I'm just too curious. I want to know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's just that's really what it is for me. I want to
Yeah.
know everything. I want to try
Yeah.
things. I want to see what the possibilities are.
Right. All right. I
And
think we're done restocking.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely things where, like, yeah, I know some things are really just simply not, I don't have the personality for it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
fine,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I don't have to do every single thing, but I can appreciate the things that I know I am not built for.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I respect the people who, actually, I think it'd be kind of be interesting to work as an electrician
Yeah.
or
Like a trade job would be really cool.
right, like or plumbing. I actually know a fairly decent amount of plumbing. I'm no expert for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
like I'm like, yeah, I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I think it'd be
Yeah.
cool. I like building IKEA furniture. Like,
Yeah.
to me that is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's weird, but I have my little toolbox. I
Yeah.
like to I've part of the reason for that too is I have so many books that I need shelves.
Yeah.
So, I have to be able to make the shelves to
Right.
put my books on. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's funny because we're talking about organizing things, and I do
Mm-hmm.
have a certain way I organize my books.
Mm-hmm.
So I do keep my paperbacks, my like little mass market paperbacks, like the kinds you get at like at a Walgreens or something. They never have the
Yeah.
nice ones; they have the cheap ones. So I'll
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
those separate. But like I like to have my hardcovers and my like the nicer paperbacks. I like them all to be in order. I have like certain sections where it's certain genres. Like I have all my
Mm-hmm.
psychology books in one shelf. I kept all of my textbooks because I just you know figured I might need to reference them someday. You know,
Yeah.
but I have all of my fiction together. I have my poetry books together. I don't have very many of those. I have my mangas together. I have, reference books together. Do you want me to read out any items we might want to get?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Alrighty. Alright. In the hygiene section, we
Mm-hmm.
definitely need more of the red toilet paper.
Okay.
Um, we should probably have like we still need to stock two more. We should probably have like a couple boxes.
Okay.
I think we have one box of the green toilet paper, but we should have another.
Okay.
Um, the let's see the
If
bath
you
gel.
look in the back room, actually, it might be easier for you. Just because
Mm-hmm.
the shelves are completely
Oh,
full out
right,
there. You
right,
know what I mean? But
right.
back here,
Yeah,
there'll be empty spots where we need to order
right.
stuff to have for back
Okay,
stock.
right,
Try that.
right. So,
Okay. So I have the toilet paper.
whatever the
Um.
green bottle is, the narrow green bottle, not the wide one. There's the avocado one. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
wide one.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, the yellow bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the body wash one.
The bath gel, yeah.
Um, let's see. We need the honey O's
Okay. Yep.
and oh gosh, which tea is that? That's the problem though. Like, I can't hover
Oh,
over.
the tea, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's the black tea, the one with the little filigrees in the corner,
Okay,
in the
yes,
front.
yep, yep.
I think the green tea is fine. The green tea has the little leaf on the top, I think,
Yes,
or
yes.
fish or whatever. Then there's the
Mm-hmm.
other tea in the box as well.
Hmm. The lemon tea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, chocolate powder.
Okay.
Uh,
Um, chocolate powder. Got it.
green bag tea.
Okay.
Brown bag tea.
Okay.
All right. To the pet food, we need blue pat pat.
Yep. Blue
Okay.
pat pat. Got it.
All right, and then for canned food, we need peas.
Okay.
Let's see. For we need milk and orange juice cartons.
Okay. Milk and orange juice. Where is it? There it is. Got it.
Okay. We need the blue flour.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
The flour that's only red at the top of the bag.
Okay. Got that.
Um, I guess it's the sugar that says Petus on it, or it's the yellow bag.
Okay. The where is it? Okay, I got it.
Okay, the box sugar,
Okay.
the other bag sugar,
Okay.
pepper, salt,
Pepper and um I'm sure it's here somewhere. There it is. Got it.
In the sweets, we need the chocolate boxes.
Okay, chocolate. Mm-hmm.
I think that is the sour cream, or is that
Oh,
the
the
hummus? The creme
margarine.
fraiche. Yeah, the
Yeah, got it.
margarine.
Mm-hmm.
No. Take that off. I
No?
see the creme
Okay.
fraiche up there.
Okay.
That is the hummus.
Hummus. Got it. Okay.
Okay. Um,
Yep, got it. Okay.
I think we need the small. Oh wait, is that the? I think it's the crab sticks
Okay.
and butter.
Okay. Butter.
White yogurt and pink yogurt.
Okay. Got it.
The light colored heart. I think that's the Gruyere.
Yep.
And then, actually, all three of the hard cheeses.
Okay. Got them.
The mozzarella.
Mozzarella. Mm-hmm.
The red Parmesan bag.
Okay. Got it.
Black label soda.
Okay.
Also the Zap. Actually,
Mhm.
all of the bottled sodas. All
Okay.
of them.
Got it.
All right, frozen foods.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is this one? The one that the green and yellow packaging. I think it's the green beans.
Green beans. Yep.
Fries.
Fries. Uh-huh.
Green pizza.
Green pizza.
Black pizza.
Black pizza. Okay.
Red pizza.
Red pizza. Uh-huh.
All right. What's that? I think that's the. Oh, is the white box the ham croquette or
Yeah, the crocante ham.
crocante ham? Yeah.
Yeah, you can just tell me the color of the box and I can put it in.
Okay. The blue and white box.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the ham crepe.
The like
Um,
the lighter blue color.
right.
Yeah.
So the vegetable lasagna,
Okay.
both
Vegetable. Got it.
the vegetables and the chicken bags.
Yep.
Yeah, the burr. Um, I th- both of the ice creams.
Okay. That's under sweets, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it.
Ice cream. Okay. Not bad. I thought we were going to spend a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm.
For it's only 4,210, so we still got a little bit of money.
Okay, we can get some more shelves.
Yeah, and there might be like once we put this stuff on here, he's probably going to start restocking again, so there might be some stuff that we have to end up buying again.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to get to a point where once we restock everything, we don't have to like keep buying it over and over again.
Right, right.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh my gosh, it's funny to think about this because we started off with just so few products.
Yeah, like
And
6 things.
right, right. And now it's like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure this is stocked and that is stocked. And we have so many items that we sell now.
Yeah.
We're gonna be the next Trader Joe's.
I actually love Trader Joe's.
Me too. Oh my gosh, Trader Joe's is the best.
And people think it's expensive, but it's like one of the cheapest places you can buy food.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great way to buy foods that usually would be expensive.
Yeah. This one. Okay. Smudge, go lay down. Are you gonna be good?
So my boss gave me some throat spray. It's
Yeah.
like a homeopathic throat spray, and it tastes like cloves, and I love
Oh,
it.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh no, like she gave it to me. I'm like, I guess, because like my allergies were getting to me, and she was like,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah, you know, here, you can have this for now. I know you're not feeling too hot because of this, so I'm just gonna let you have one. Because usually I get a discount on vitamins and stuff.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so she gave me the throat spray, and I've been using it a lot because of streaming.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that like a lot of streamers will use like humidifiers and stuff
Mm-hmm.
on their desk to help keep their throats
Right.
healthy.
Yeah, I usually use a humidifier in the winter because it gets super
Yeah.
dry.
Yeah. You almost
I
have to anymore.
yeah, I had to yeah, especially because I mean, I used to live in California, and in one of the most humid parts of California, though people don't realize how humid it gets there
Yeah.
because it's not hot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but so I never had to have like a humidifier unless
Yeah.
it was for like reasons like being sick,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But yeah, I run a humidifier all winter here.
Yeah. Yeah, we usually have to too. Like my hands get so dry in the winter, it
Mm-hmm.
hurts. Like
Yeah.
I also I so we were talking about OCD tendencies. Like one of my things is like if there's any if I can feel something on my skin that
Mm-hmm.
isn't normally there that I can wash off, I have to wash it off.
Mm-hmm.
So like in particular like if I pet a dog and the dog's fur is kind of oily,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like it drives me insane to be able to feel it on my hands, so I have to wash my hands. So I
Yeah.
tend to wash my hands a little bit more than probably the average person would.
Mm-hmm.
And my hands just get so freaking dry in the winter that
Right.
they
Right.
like crack almost.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. Like I've worked with kids a lot,
Mm-hmm.
so kids are sticky. Like
Yeah, yeah,
literally,
yeah.
their skin is sticky. Like they're just generally sticky, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not like they're not. It's not like they're doing it on purpose or anything. It's just kids being
Right.
kids, right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, I get kind of you know, and because kids can be so unhygienic, like
Mm-hmm.
I got in the habit of washing my hands a lot, and like working at a clinic too, you have to keep your hands
Right,
pretty
right.
clean. So, um, so yeah, like I have, you know, at work, blah blah blah, brain. I see. I'm so into like this store right now. I can't even
Yeah,
think
yeah,
of
yeah,
words
yeah.
very well.
Yeah, you're good.
Um,
Like dry
but
hands kind of a thing from work.
yeah, yeah. I wash my hands a lot. I use hand sanitizer a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of a requirement of the job to try to, you know,
Right.
keep things
I actually can't use
clean.
hand sanitizer for that same reason that I was just talking
Mm-hmm.
about.
Right,
Because
right.
I can feel it on my hands even after it's evaporated. Like I can just
Mm-hmm.
feel the film that it leaves, and
Right.
it drives me insane.
Well, Human Mother bought this hand sanitizer that has aloe in it, and it
Mm-hmm.
just makes you sticky, and it's
Yeah,
very uncomfortable. I don't like using that hand sanitizer at all.
yeah, yeah.
But
Like somebody will offer it to me, and I'm just like, nope.
right, right.
But something interesting about hand sanitizer is that when I was going through cosmetology school,
Mm-hmm.
um, they like part of the training for getting your license is that you have to use hand sanitizer in between doing the different tasks of the test.
Mm-hmm.
So often I would pretend to use hand sanitizer, but I actually wouldn't use it because
Yeah.
the texture would drive me insane on my hands,
Right, right,
and I wouldn't be able to focus on my test. I'd just be too worried about how my hands feel.
right.
So yeah, I would like put my fingers over the thing and act like I pumped it, but I wouldn't actually pump it into my hands at
Right.
all.
That's funny because so I worked at this school once,
Hmm.
and we'd make the kids wash their hands before lunchtime. And there's
Hmm.
this one kid right in front of me. So I had to monitor the kids washing their hands.
Hmm.
Like, we had to make sure everybody washed their hands. This one kid right in front of me, he got his hands wet.
Hmm.
He pretended to get soap on his
Hmm.
hands. He pretended to wash them.
Hmm.
And I was like, no, kid, go back.
Yeah.
You have to wash that. Like, this
Yeah.
is not like, no, no, you can't, like, you can't fool me, kid. I'm right here. And I
Right,
don't even
right.
know why he didn't want to wash his hands. It's not like he hadn't washed his hands before. It was like, are you kidding me? Like, do you think I'm not paying
Right.
attention?
That's funny.
Yeah, but kids are like that. They're so weird
Yeah, they
sometimes.
think they're sneaky.
Yeah, and they're not. They're really not.
This is gonna be our toilet paper overstock shelf.
Okay.
So we'll have like we can have one on one side and one on the other, kind of a thing.
Right.
And then we only have one of this blue box left, but I accidentally ordered it, so I'll just leave it here on the floor.
Okay.
Um,
Pepper we should probably get.
I think he just took it out to stock.
Oh, and then there's the butter. Did we get the butter too?
Um, Maybe we might have used it.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
we'll
so
wait until
pepper and
he's done
butter.
stocking, and then we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
find
yeah. Because I was
out.
just putting stuff straight onto the shelf.
Right, me too.
Um, yeah, so we'll wait for him to finish doing his job.
Right.
Um, but
Oh, you
yeah.
got the theft detecting thing. Good.
Yeah, I did purchase that. That was the first thing
Nice.
I did. Smudge, are you
Nice.
okay?
Oh, what's going on with Smudge?
So, the reason why I don't like Smudge getting up on my desk recently,
Mm-hmm.
is because what he does is he will sit on the desk for a minute and like cuddle with me and stuff like that, and then he gets on the back of my desk chair, and from the
Mm-hmm.
desk chair he will jump approximately like 3 feet onto my bed.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just missed the bed and hit like the side of it
Mm-hmm.
just now because I heard him jump and then I looked behind him and he was on the floor. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what just happened, but I don't like him getting up on my desk because he does that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right, he's done restocking. So yeah, it looks like we just need butter.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, he I don't know what his deal is with being up on the back of my chair and then jumping onto my bed because he does it every time.
Hmm.
And like I wouldn't mind it if he would just like go in his little box that I have on my desk for him, or like sit in front of me on the desk. Like that would be fine.
Right.
But the fact that he does this like jungle thing where he likes to jump from here to there, and
Mm-hmm.
I worry about his joints because he's old.
Right. Right.
And I just let him up on my desk, and I shouldn't have because he was here for 5 seconds and then did the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're all set then. We everything is stocked in the back room.
Yeah. Everything out here looks like.
It should be extremely full out there.
It looks like that store near my house that looks like it's a movie set. We were robbed 3 times!
Oh,
What?
I don't understand this game.
I
There's
don't
no
I
way.
don't even well now we have the little detector things, so hopefully that'll help.
Yeah, yeah,
We're only paying our employees $180. That's kind of crazy.
yeah.
Like they should be getting like at least benefits or something. Hopefully we're doing that for them.
Yeah.
PTO time, sick hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, are we paying you enough? You look perplexed. I'm not sure.
Do you need a day off?
Yeah. I mean, if you need a mental health day, it's okay.
How's your mom?
we support
How's your
that.
mom doing? Have you talked to your mom lately?
Yeah. You should check in on her. Just make sure she's doing well. Your dad too. Like, sometimes people forget their dads as well.
That's true. Dads need a lot of support.
Yeah. Seriously.
All right. Let's go ahead and open. Whoops.
Okay. All right. Got my broom. My trusty
Yep.
broom. Let's see
Yep.
what happens with the detecting system.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it works.
Okay. I'm gonna set up shop right here.
Hmm. One of my friends just texted me. So because I do have my cosmetology license, I purchase shampoos that you can't get in like a grocery store or like Walmart or whatever. Like I purchase special shampoos for me and for like my best friend. And it seems like maybe it's the shampoo that she's using is causing her an allergy on her scalp. And I feel bad, like,
Right.
because like these are products that I use myself, and I tell her are really good products, but unfortunately you're not going to be able to use everything that somebody else can use.
Right. It's like my thing with my scalp that it gets itchy because of I just have sensitive skin.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit prone to eczema when I'm stressed out. Like it's not so bad. It's actually gotten better. I think I have like one little patch near my left elbow that's a little bit weird, but it's manageable. I don't always need to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But my scalp. Luckily, like I consider myself lucky. I have really thick hair,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's really healthy and really strong, and it grows really fast. Like people's hair usually grows like 4 to 6 inches a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, my hair is definitely 6 inches. Like
But
it grows
your hair's
fast.
pretty dark, right?
Yeah.
Darker hair actually grows faster than lighter hair does too.
Right.
So yeah, when they say like how much your hair grows, that's an average of like everybody's hair, I guess. But yeah, I feel like darker hair does grow a lot faster because my hair grows really fast.
Yeah. So yeah, it grows fast. It's the strands are pretty, like they're not super fine, but they're not super thick strands either. Oh.
Who is it? Here it is.
Yes.
Dude.
Hey, stop stealing! Oh my God, why do you need that much cheese? Dude, are you making
He's
quesadillas?
making a charcuterie board.
Oh my God, did you see Porcelain Maid's like the charcuterie board?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
It was all like string cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi P, we have a Discord.
Yep.
Here, I'm gonna pull that up and pull an invite code up. So yeah, we have a Discord called Scuff Crew. No, I'm not doing that. And both me and Ocha are in it.
Yep.
And
I'm
as well
kind of
as
the
a couple of
moderator.
our and a couple of our other friends.
Yeah.
So I am going to give you I'll give you a link. You can find us there. Here, I'm just gonna post that. So yeah, I don't usually. I'm kind of cautious about who I, talk to directly in DMs on Discord because I've just been getting so many art bots.
Mm-hmm. I
And
don't talk to anybody on Discord that I don't know.
yeah, I try to be really careful about that now. And I actually put it like on my Discord. I'm like, if you want me to commission art, contact the company that I stream for.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like, I'm small right now, and I probably seem a lot like an indie VTuber, but I'm actually streaming for a company,
Mm-hmm.
for a publishing company. So, you know, I can kind of use that as an excuse. A lot of times it happens when I tell people, like those art bots, you need to email my company because they make the final decisions. They don't email. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll email them. And then they don't send an email. And I'm like, okay, well, that shows that they're a bot. you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yep.
But, I'm pretty careful. Um, and I always try to be welcoming with people, but, I'm also somebody who I have a couple of jobs that I work at, so I don't always have a lot of time to chat. But I try to be active where I can. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm always happy to get to know new people because, I feel like streaming is such a great opportunity to really, to meet people and to learn about who they are.
Yeah, for sure.
And I always like to encourage creativity too. Like I'm always happy to help. Like, whenever I see people post that they're looking for artists, I'll be like, oh yeah, this is my friend Ari, and this is my model mama,
Mm-hmm.
Lasana, and
Mm-hmm.
I know they both have commissions open, so you can check them out. They're really great people. They won't charge you too much,
Mm-hmm.
and or like if somebody has a book coming out, the first thing I'm gonna do is be like, yeah, tell me what you want me to know about your book. I will help promote it for you. That's my job. Part of my job with streaming. We're trying to get things together right now to organize some more what's your story streams with some of our authors. It's just been a little difficult because we've had a lot of books come out in the past few months, and so I'm trying to figure out when's the best time. Like we still have some books that are coming out, and oh hey, how's it going? Um, so like I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it because there's one person who her book came out last like October, and she's really enthusiastic. She wants to do an interview, and I want to interview her because she is awesome. Like
Yeah.
when she submitted her book to the press, like I read the first like couple of how dare they? I read the first couple of paragraphs. It was like, oh gosh, we need to publish this book. Like
Mm-hmm.
her writing was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the quality of her writing. We barely needed to edit it. It
Wow.
was ready to go. And it's one of the press's best-selling books because
How often do you come across books that are like perfect like that? Like they need very little editing. Like you can
um
tell like as soon as you start reading that it's a good book.
gosh, right now because we just finished a submission period.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually had a pretty good number, like a percentage wise. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'd say 50% of the books were like this is something we can publish. I'm not
Yeah.
to say like the other books weren't worth publishing. They just weren't in the this is abuse. Was she stealing?
Yeah, I saw the little icon above her head.
Okay. But you know, the books that we got that weren't in published ready condition, like they weren't bad. They
Right.
just needed more work than the press could do for
Yeah.
them with the amount of time it would have taken. Like it would have taken twice as long to go through the whole process for some of those books. Whereas, you know, you want books that are in pretty good condition, that don't need like an excessive amount of changes, because first of all, you don't want the author to feel like their book isn't theirs anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you don't want to change the book so much that they feel like it's not their story, that their story is not being told. You want to make sure that they are telling the story that they want to.
Right.
So I would hate to, like, you know, for us to take a book that would be like, you know, oh, I'm already holding something, that's why. Yeah, I don't want us to take a book that somebody would feel like, you know, we change it so much, like it's almost like the press has written it for them. Or
Yeah,
rewritten it.
yeah. I get that.
Like we had a book. I'm not going to give too many details because I really want to be careful about that, because those people might submit elsewhere, or you know, I don't want to hurt people's feelings either. We don't like to do that. The person, like the concept the person had was really good, but they just, I could tell that what was going on was they had the concept in their head. It was solid, but they actually weren't very good at expressing everything that was in their head on the paper. So like they knew the world, they knew the characters, but it was they kind of didn't share enough about the world and about the characters so that readers could understand the context, and so that they could like, you know, relate to the characters because they know the characters the way the author does. So in that case, it's like we couldn't really publish that because it was, you know, it wasn't ready yet. It wasn't bad. The idea was good. Our idea was actually marketable, but it just wasn't properly, it wasn't ready.
Right.
And, you know, what we do is, you know, we offer to, you know, the authors, like, you know, our rejection letter does say, like, you know, we want to encourage you. We don't want you to feel like you know, you haven't failed here.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that people even submit books, that is brave.
Yeah, I was just
Like,
about to say that's a really scary
I
thing to do.
respect everybody who has submitted a book to us in goodwill. You know, somebody did send us something that was obviously AI, and it was terrible. And you know, something like that, where it's like, this is a company that does not publish AI stories and does not use AI art for our covers. Like, we have a point of not doing that.
Yeah.
And so when somebody submits AI that's obvious AI, it's like, no, you're not doing this. We're not accepting this. There's no way.
Yeah.
You know?
Is there tools to help you guys identify like plagiarism and AI and things like that?
We haven't had to use tools.
Okay.
I think it's because we're such a small press.
Yeah,
that,
that's true.
you know, I think what happens is, you know, people don't expect a lot from us. So
Yeah.
we haven't had to use much. But, like, if we're looking for an artist, we might look at their portfolio and maybe look at that through an AI, like, detector program
Oh,
or
okay.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and you know, the people who work for the press are also pretty well read in a
Yeah.
lot of the genres that we publish, so it's
Hmm.
kind of easy to tell.
Yeah, I guess
You know.
you can like kind of pick up things like if you've read those books
Mhm.
before, like you can kind of see
Right. Right.
those things easier.
Right. And we specifically look for books that are pretty unique.
Yeah.
We aren't looking for we're looking for the stuff that other publishing companies, like the major publishing companies, don't
Hmm.
publish.
Yeah.
You know, because the publishing companies, those big publishing companies, are going to go with what they think will sell, not
Hmm.
necessarily what is interesting or unique or
Hmm.
creative.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like, and that's part of the reason why, you know, we have two of the best selling authors of trans fiction.
Nice.
And a lot of that is because, you know, it's really difficult to find decent fiction with trans characters.
Yeah, it is.
And so, you know, we have, you know, Nairi Bakalian, Dr. Nairi Bakalian. She's amazing.
Hmm.
She's a wonder. Like she's, you know, on the spectrum. She has degrees in Japanese history and military history.
Wow.
She wrote this fantastic book called Grey Dawn,
Hmm.
in which one of the main characters is from the Civil War.
Oh.
She disguised herself as a boy to fight in the Civil War. And
Hmm.
then the other character is in the near future, and she is she works for um, like a military branch that handles uh, time travelers and
Hmm.
time travel errors and stuff. And
Yeah.
so that's how the two characters meet, and it does have a romance to it. Um, and it's such a beautiful story. I really love it so much.
Yeah.
And the way she wrote it was just, I mean, there's a reason why it's it sells. It's
Yeah.
because it's just so good and so needed to have like quality storytelling in that area.
Yeah. Where do you guys typically like distribute your books to? Like, where do you sell your books from?
So we have a website.
Hmm.
It's balanceof7.com. We have a shop there.
Hmm.
Our books are like, so pretty much our books can be bought anywhere. They can be bought on Amazon. They can be bought on barnesandnoble.com. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of those websites, they just, you can buy, they'll order the books as they need them essentially.
Gotcha.
So, you know, and we have our books printed up by Ingram Spark, which every book retailer has access to ordering from them.
Oh, okay.
We
I was just
also,
curious.
right. We also have our books in ebook form, so you could get them on Kindle. And we also have them on
Oh, okay.
itch.io for people who don't want to use Amazon.
Yeah.
So you can find Balance of Seven books on itch.io
Hmm.
in ebook format, and yeah, and then on our own website. So, you know, they're easy to get.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing how easy they are to get. Like,
Yeah, I was actually looking at your guys' website the other day.
mm-hmm,
Just like scrolling through the different books and stuff like that, and there were
mm-hmm.
so many on there. I was like, wow.
Right. Well, we've been
They all
around
look
since like
interesting.
2016.
Yeah.
So my first ever short story was published in the first anthology
Oh,
that
nice.
we published.
Yeah.
That was Rogues and Wildfire, and the whole concept was to the Dirty Ranger romance. Like, it was based on that concept of in Lord of the Rings how how Aragorn looked foul but felt fair.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
So, and it was like, I'm not that heavily into writing romance,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, like, I did it just to see what would happen. Like, I wasn't really intending to, you know, be one of the authors who got published, but they chose
Mm-hmm.
my story.
That's
And I
awesome.
was incredibly flattered. I didn't even think it was my best writing,
Yeah.
but you know, but it's funny because it brought up my stubbornness a little bit
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
mentioned earlier. So looked foul and felt fair. I would kind of turn that on its ear a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some characters that actually looked fair but were foul,
Right.
or were suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of messing with the concept of, you know, like, the main character is this petite, um, like, little small kind of helpless looking woman, but she's actually, her father's like an Olympic martial artist, and like,
Oh.
so she's tougher than she looks,
Yeah.
rather than, you know, like, you know, I was playing more with the idea that the characters are all different from what they looked like.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, her partner is like this big, like, buff looking, like, black man who is an intellectual who likes tea. You know? So I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
playing around with those concepts a little bit with all the characters.
Yeah.
And,
Cool.
yeah, so it was kind of fun to do that. And I didn't expect to be chosen, and I was chosen. It was insanely flattering. But
So did you publish that before working for your publishing company, or was it something that you had done after you had already been working there?
so it was the first book that they published, and it was before I was working there.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I guess technically, if you think about it, like, I was, like, you know, a contract employee in a sense, because
Yeah.
they contracted me for my story.
Yeah.
Um, and I served a little bit on with, I helped out the press a lot consistently over the years since the beginning. Like, the
Hmm.
people who run it are who ran it originally are friends of mine.
Oh, nice.
And you know, sometimes I'd try to help out where I could. Like, you know, for a while we tried to do like a board of directors, and, you know, I helped with. I'm very much an ideas person.
Hmm.
So, you know, I was always pretty good at coming up with, like, ideas that were useful or helpful in some way, or
Yeah.
at least I always did my best to do so. And you know, with things like marketing and you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and what ended up happening is one of them just she has a kid,
Hmm.
and she just really, it was very difficult for her to keep. Gosh, I moved really fast there for some reason. Yeah, so it was hard for her to keep doing it because you know, her life was, you know, it was what it was, essentially.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um, so a bunch of other authors who, from within and outside of the press, got
Hmm.
involved. And some of them came and some of them left. And now it's a pretty small team. We're probably only going to publish 4 or 5 books this coming year,
Yeah.
so that we can focus on building up, doing stuff with the VTubing, and because
Yeah.
a lot of publishers don't advertise the vast majority of the books that they publish,
Yeah.
and we wanted to do something with for our authors so that we could, you know, actually do something to help promote their books,
Yeah.
and also bring in, you know, an audience, because, like, a lot of these books that we have are very much, they do overlap with the kind of audience that plays video games. Like, a lot of our books
Yeah.
are science fiction and fantasy, We
Mm-hmm.
do have some that are more like literary fiction and stuff like that. But even
Mm-hmm.
still, like like a lot of people who read don't just read one genre.
Right, right.
A lot of people who read like to try all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
So, we we try to you know, have a lot of different kinds of books and have a lot of different kinds of authors from different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we really try to do, actually, especially, is make sure we're in a position where we can publish books by people, much like VTubing. Like we were talking about, a lot of VTubers are people who can't work traditional jobs.
Yeah.
So we actually publish a lot of books for people who are disabled,
Mm-hmm.
have mental or physical health issues
Mm-hmm.
that make it hard for them to work.
Mm-hmm.
We also, publish books from people in the LGBTQ community,
Yeah.
because like Nairi, for example. Um, I don't want to give too much away about her personal life, but it's a lot of people who are trans really struggle to make ends meet. I'm sure you know
Yep.
this.
Yep.
A lot of
Exactly.
people will not hire people who are trans. It's very
Yeah,
discriminatory.
it's awful. Yeah, and especially people who don't necessarily pass well.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of
Right.
trans women, unfortunately, have that problem.
Right. Right.
Um, I mean, testosterone's a hell of a drug. It can do a lot to a person who's born female.
Mm-hmm.
To change like how that their body looks and makes them
Right.
pass a little bit easier. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, it is a huge issue.
Right. It for trans women. It's more of like, how do you take away all of this?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I know there are some trans women who pass really well,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
don't struggle, but there are a lot of them, get clocked, and it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
and
I've even seen like some cis guys that pass better than some cis women do.
mm-hmm.
It's
Right,
funny.
right,
Like
right.
so everybody looks different. So I don't understand like the whole conservative idea of thinking
Yeah.
like, oh, we can always tell when someone is trans. Like, no, you
Right.
can't.
Well, I think part of the problem too is that concepts of female beauty are so limited compared to
Yeah.
concepts of male attractiveness.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
I mean, there is definitely a lot of pressure that a lot of guys experience because they feel like, oh, I need to look like this superhero action figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, a lot of women don't actually buy into that as much when it comes
Yeah. Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
or a lot of women who are attracted to men don't buy
Mhm.
into it as much.
Yeah.
So, dad bods are great,
Yeah. A lot. I've noticed that a lot more recently. That
Yeah.
a lot of women are looking for more like dad bod style things and like people that are
Right.
nice and people that
Right.
want to cuddle and and not
Right.
necessarily
I'm
really handsome guys that have a
right.
lot of money and stuff like
I
that.
mean, like, I'll be clear. Like, I have dated a couple guys who are really built. And
Mhm.
I'll tell you this right now. It is
Mhm.
not easy to cuddle with somebody who has, like, muscle on top of muscle. They're just
Yeah.
hard. Their bodies feel hard. And,
Yeah.
and so it's hard to cuddle with somebody whose body feels like that.
Mhm.
Like it's like trying to hug a rock.
Yeah.
And it's not always comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of guys don't realize that body type wise, what looks good doesn't necessarily mean it feels good.
Right.
And I think that
Yep.
goes with and like I think a lot of guys like that they might be into the image of women who are very slender, like supermodels,
Yeah.
but in reality, um, a lot of the porn stars out there have a lot more curves.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I mean, we don't have to all look the same.
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
that's really the thing.
Mhm.
Honestly, to me, like, I look at models and, like, sure, they're pretty to look at, but you know what I really like is people who have something interesting about their faces. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just um, age too. Like it's really just, you know, I don't need everybody to be perfect looking. I don't want people to be perfect
Right,
looking
right,
because the
right.
reality is we're not all going to look perfect and beautiful as we get older. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's a
Mm-hmm.
limited time when we look that way.
Right.
You
All right,
know.
he's done, so we must be full.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Here, do you want to read off and I'll enter them?
yeah, you go ahead and order. I think I know the names of most of these things, so
Okay.
it should be okay. But yeah, like going back about like people that like I'm attracted to all body types. Like I don't have one
Mhm.
specific body type that really attracts me. What
Mhm.
I really like are pretty eyes. Like
Yes.
the eyes to
Oh
me
my
are
gosh.
like they say like the eyes are the window to the soul, right? Like
Right.
I love looking at pretty eyes for some reason.
Right.
Like um
Right.
and it's typically eyes that maybe aren't the same color as my eyes. Like I like blue eyes and I like
Mhm.
green eyes and I don't know. It's just
Mhm.
like there's certain things that attract you about a person that aren't necessarily based around like how built you are or how slender you are. Like
Right.
everybody has their
Right.
thing that they look for in a body. And like I
Yeah.
think all bodies are beautiful.
Right. Right. Yeah, for me, like eyes are a big thing and a person's smile.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only smiles are attractive, but they also tell you a lot about a person by how they smile. You
Yeah.
know, like you can tell when somebody is smiling and it goes up into their eyes. Like that's like a genuine smile. You can tell when somebody's
Yeah.
fake smiling. You know, it's just like little hints that let you know, okay, th- there's something sincere about this person, and
Yeah.
I can see it in their smile, and I can see it in how they laugh,
Right.
and you know, like, gosh, somebody who has a good sense of humor about themselves and can laugh at
Yeah. Someone
themselves.
who isn't like super like somebody who doesn't take themselves too seriously
Right, right.
kind of a
Like,
thing.
and I try to cultivate that for myself. Like,
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
just ask other people to be that way. I want to be the kind of person that I'm attracted to.
Yeah.
In a way, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that's who I want to be. Like, I want to be somebody who can be that back for somebody.
Yeah.
You know, so like for me, like I really worked hard to build a sense of humor about myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's a good way to think about things. When we think about ourselves, it's like, do we think about, you know, if there's something we look for in somebody else, if
Mm-hmm.
we have certain kinds of expectations, then we should probably have those expectations of ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yep.
I find kindness incredibly attractive.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
I would never like if I went on a date with somebody and I was sitting at a table with them and they mistreated the wait staff, that instant turn off. I would not want to date them ever again. I would not want to be around them. I mean, that would be it.
Yeah.
I treat everybody with a basic level of respect, which is,
Yeah.
you know, politeness. Um, you know, I that's my base level. I start off by at least being polite, you know, saying thank you, saying you're welcome. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I give them space when they need space. You know,
Yeah.
I don't invade on their privacy. Like, you know, just general. This is how you treat people.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and when somebody serves you,
Mm-hmm.
automatically they are doing something for you. So you
Mm-hmm.
should always treat them well because they are doing something for you. Even if they're getting paid for it, you know, not everybody gets paid fairly.
Right, exactly.
You know, so when I go to the store, when I go to a restaurant, you know, whatever, I always do my best to, you know, sometimes, when you go to a store and they'll be like, oh yeah, you know, how was your day? Sometimes I ask the cashier how their day was before they ask me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I know they work hard.
Yeah.
you know, and I know people are pretty horrible to retail workers.
Yeah, they are,
So,
unfortunately.
yeah. We should order stuff.
Yes. So we need, go ahead and buy like 3 of each of the toilet papers.
Okay, yeah, I already put down 2, so I'll just get another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
We can always put them on the extra shelf.
right.
We need the blue shampoo bottle,
Okay,
and also the white shampoo bottle.
okay. The egg shampoo.
Yes.
Is
We need the body wash, the gel.
okay.
We need rice.
Okay,
We need the chocolate spread.
okay. That's in sweets and snacks.
Yes.
Yes. Pata
Um,
tartine.
hmm We need the box of tea that has the like little green fish on top.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we need coffee.
Okay, that's in basic products, I think, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We need the green soda pack and the red soda pack.
Okay.
Um, we need the beans, the red beans in the cans,
Okay.
and we need the tuna in the cans.
The big tuna.
Yes.
Okay.
We need bread.
Yes, we definitely. I think maybe we should get 2 breads because those go pretty fast.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Um, we need pasta, and the spaghetti too. So both of those.
Pasta. Paschetti. Where is that? There it is. Spaghetti. Hello, spaghetti. Okay.
We need the flour that has the red at top and the bottom. I think it's called white flour.
Hang on a sec. Not the supreme flour.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
other
the
one.
white flour. Yeah. Okay, got
Yep,
it.
yep, yep. Um, and the sweets, we need the vanilla biscuits and the chocolate biscuits.
Okay.
And we also need the chocolate box and the cookie jar.
Okay. For the cool kids.
Yes. Um, we also, okay, so condiments, we need the mustard and the barbecue sauce.
Okay. Mustard and barbecue sauce.
There is also, okay, so seafood, we need big sushi
Big sushi.
and crab sticks.
Crab sticks.
And then in dairy, we need the Parmigiano Reggiano, the green bag.
Okay. Yes.
And we need butter.
Butter.
We need all of the yogurts.
Yogurt. Yogurt. Yogurt.
And we need the margarine.
I think that's in basic products somewhere. Yep.
We need the mozzarella cheese.
Mozzarella. Yep.
In the soda bottles, we need Zap soda and the red label soda.
Okay.
And then we're in freezers, so we need the what is that called? It's the crispy potatoes.
Yes.
And we need the green pizza boxes and the black pizza boxes.
Okay. The big Tony and the
Um,
mafia.
We need the crocante ham,
Crocante ham. Tony
and
pizza.
mhm. We
Okay.
need the bolognese lasagna,
Okay.
and we need the white burr. It's the vegetable mix,
Mm-hmm.
and we need the oh, what is it called? The ice cream box, the Delatout or yeah, the
Um.
newer one, the second one.
Okay. Delatout. Yeah.
Yep, and that should be it.
Okay.
Now we get to watch them rain from the sky.
Each time it rains, it rains. Shooby dooby.
Um,
Okay, that one goes there. I like that we have labels now for the.
the storage.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Adaptive, thank you for following. Welcome in. How are you doing?
We are gonna have the best store in the world. It's gonna be
Yes, we
so
are.
cool. It's gonna be the coolest, awesomest store in the world. Everyone's gonna buy our food. They'll be like, yeah, tea time is the best. They have the best
Sorry.
prices and the best food.
Yeah. I'll help you in just a second. I'm trying to help my friend with her hair problem real quick.
Oh, no, no, no. Take your time.
She it's been really itchy and it's been
Aw.
bothering her a lot, so she's asking me about like
Right.
what to use.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes, like, I'll even, um, I've put like jojoba oil on my
Mhm.
scalp, or even tea tree oil, just
Yeah.
to like do as like a treatment.
Yeah. Costume Stick, thank you for following. Welcome in. How are you? We're playing
Yeah.
Supermarket together. Um, yeah, so her issue is that she recently added a shampoo that is like it's like a purple shampoo. Um,
Oh, okay.
that is like a store brand that you can get pretty much
Mhm.
anywhere.
Right.
So I'm thinking that might be her issue, but she's having like really bad itchiness that is really bothering her. So I'm trying to help her with
Right.
that.
Right.
The brand that we normally buy from has like a scalp balancing thing.
Mhm. Right. Right.
So I'm thinking that might help.
Mhm.
You can also try things like apple cider vinegar and stuff like that can help.
Right. Right. I've heard that too. You know, it's funny. Like, you know, when we do streams, like, I feel like people can learn some
Yeah.
really interesting things from us, because we have such a like an off the wall kind of combination of knowledge between
A
us.
very broad amount of knowledge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like psychology and cosmetics and hair care and stuff about fashion and you know, the weird jobs we've had.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, LT, we're getting organized. We're making sure that we have stuff set aside for during the day when people buy things, so that we can refill and restock, and we don't have to buy extras when people during the day when people come in, and it makes it
Yeah,
easier
yeah,
for
yeah.
us to catch the thieves.
Yes.
Because oh man, those thieves.
They like to frequent our shop for some reason.
Yeah, yeah,
I need them to go to other stores, not ours.
right, right. Like
Um,
seriously.
okay, let's see. That's where that goes. Like I'm the one that did it and I'm still having issues finding where stuff goes back here.
Yeah. We'll get used to it.
Yeah. It's like that information just goes like in one ear and out the other sometimes.
Right, right.
Um, but yeah, like I don't know if it's just because of like my personality, but like whenever I learn something, I like to
Mhm.
share my knowledge with the people that are around
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
So I tend to talk about shoot, I just put that in the wrong spot. I talk about stuff a lot, like things that I'm interested in, and my friends know that like yes, I'm going to talk about this thing for a while, so they just kind of come to expect me to start talking about it.
Mhm.
Um, it's like my hyperfixation thing.
Yeah.
Like I get so into stuff that that's all I can talk about for months.
Right. A lot of people who have ADHD or autism are both, they'll do that a lot. And
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
funny because I can't tell you like how many people in my life
Mhm.
have ADHD or they're autistic and they have these things. And I guess the thing is, I generally like part of the reason why my throat gets kind of sore doing streams is usually in person I'm pretty quiet, and
Mhm.
I'm people know I am a good listener.
Yeah.
I will listen to people like go on and on, and I actually find it really charming when people are like really into something and they have something they're
Yeah.
excited about and they want to share it. I'm like, oh my gosh, share it, please. I'd like to learn about that. Like, even if
Yeah.
it's not something that's necessarily interesting to me, because I'm a writer,
Mhm.
automatically, like, it's important for me to know a lot of stuff and a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
random information. Like, it's useful when
Mhm.
writing a book to just be
Mhm.
somebody who knows random stuff.
Right.
And so if I know somebody's good at something, if like there's a particular thing that they are like really knowledgeable about, I'm gonna want to
Mhm.
know because I might want to ask them questions later.
Right, yeah. Um, somebody who's done something like that that I really liked was Kane Knight.
Right.
When he was talking about Power Rangers,
Mm-hmm.
like the way that he just gets so excited about Power Rangers, just
Right.
it makes it seem like it's such a cool thing that he's into. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
loves it so much that you can
Right.
tell just from him talking about it how much passion he has for that subject.
And it's adorable. Like, oh
It
my
is,
gosh, when
yeah,
somebody's
yeah.
excited about something, you can see it in their face. Oh my gosh, like their face lights up. They're
Yeah.
like,
They're
their voice.
laughing, they're having a good
Right,
time.
right. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
gosh, this is the most adorable, sweetest, cutest thing. Like, no wonder, like, I watch streamers because a lot of streamers do that.
Yeah, yeah,
you
they'll talk
know?
about their favorite subjects, and it's so
Right,
cute. That's
right.
actually something that I kinda look for in people as well whenever I'm
Mm-hmm.
dating, is like a passion for something. Like,
Right,
what is your hobby that you can't put down? Like,
right.
what are you into?
I find apathy to be one of the most boring traits in a person.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
but
people
when
who you try to talk to somebody and
right,
they're just like, "Oh, yeah, whatever." You know what I mean? Like, I hate that.
right, right. It's just you know when when people like are excited about something, like, and I feel like to me, I don't need another person to be exactly like me.
Yeah.
I don't need them to be interested in all the same things that I'm interested in.
Mhm,
If I'm like dating them,
mhm.
I feel like when I have things that are different from what they're interested in, it's like, oh hey, like I I can learn from them.
Mhm.
You know, they can learn from me, and you know, on top of that, it's also like I feel like healthy relationships aren't based on being so enmeshed that you can't do other things. Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to be, doing the same things together all the time. Like it's
Yeah.
okay if people like, sometimes to me like a good friendship or a good relationship is one where you could also just be like, I'm sitting on the couch reading a book of my partner or my friend or whoever is sitting
Mhm.
next to me on the couch. They're reading their own book or they're writing something or they're playing their video game, and just enjoying that companionable silence of being able to do the
Yeah.
things we individually enjoy but sitting together. you
Yeah.
know
I
I
think we
think
kinda
there's
talked about that before, like
right.
like spending time together but separately.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, in some ways, a lot of times for people who are on the ADHD autism spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's easier to interact with people that way
Mm-hmm.
too, because
Mm-hmm.
there's not as much social pressure
Yeah.
to say anything or do anything. Like for me,
Right.
like
Right.
I might be like sitting next to that person. I'll like say, I might check in. I'll be like, hey, how's your game going? And like, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cool. I
Mm-hmm.
got to this part, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then you know
Yeah.
I go back to my reading, and they go back to their game, and it's like, nice, you know.
Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, it's funny though because I am surrounded by so many people in my life who have ADHD.
Yeah.
And
I know.
maybe
That's why.
maybe I attract those kinds of people because I, you know,
Well,
I
I
like,
was gonna say, like, it's funny that you say that because especially those things like being on the spectrum and also ADHD, they tend to attract the same type of people. So it's really funny that you have been tested and have not been, you're like,
hmm
you're not on the spectrum and you don't have ADHD and things like that.
right,
Like, it's so funny that you're still, like, you're friends with me and like your mom has ADHD and stuff. Like, you're surrounded by people who have these things.
right,
Like,
right,
it's really crazy to me that you do not have those things.
right, right. It's actually kind of almost ridiculous
Yeah.
because like I get it, like you know to a certain extent. There are some things I do get frustrated with, and like I do understand why people will have those issues. You know, like
Hmm.
time blindness, that I do
I'm
tend
so bad with
to,
that.
yeah, yeah. Like one of my human aunts, so for years she thought she had anxiety because a lot of times in women, especially, ADHD will present as anxiety,
Hmm.
or sometimes depression too.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
and a lot of times because you know people when they diagnose ADHD they tend to look for the traits that happen more in boys and men than
Yeah.
happen in women because it's so much more obvious because women will mask more.
Yes.
So
They actually just started testing, like just started researching women in like the last like 10 years or something like that.
mhm,
Um,
right.
there's like I think it's really soon actually. Uh, I just read it recently. Let me see. Or maybe it was autism because this says that they started testing it in 1979. I don't know, but
Mhm,
there was like it was like 2016 or something I read where they just started doing a lot of
right,
research
right.
on how those things affect women. Like that's crazy to me.
Right, right. So like human aunt for years, like she didn't get diagnosed until she was in her 50s.
Mm-hmm.
She always thought she had anxiety, which understandably was a good guess for her to make
Mm-hmm.
because they grew up in a pretty messed up family. There was abuse going on, and so you know it would make sense logically. Somebody who grows up in an abusive family might have anxiety. You
Right.
know, like that seems a logical conclusion to make. But she would do things like she would be okay. I'll be there at 2 o'clock, and she wouldn't be there until 6 o'clock, like literally hours late.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And usually, what would happen is, so she'd mean to leave it at like 1 o'clock, let's say. Um, she gets a little distracted. She leaves at 1:30. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I should stop by this family member's house too. And so she'll go to their house and she'll be like, okay, so maybe I bring them with me to go to visit so and so. And
Mm-hmm.
then, oh, but wait, they need groceries, so maybe we should get them groceries first, and then because I have a car and they don't, and then we can do this and this and that. So like it's just kind of this constant like adding on tacking on activities that need to be done, to the
Yeah.
point where it's like it builds up and it becomes hours of stuff rather than just, oh, I can just do this real quick, I can just do that real quick, and it ends up
Yeah.
being like those things add up.
Yeah, they do.
So for me, I don't get as easily distracted
Mm-hmm.
about stuff like that. I can usually stay pretty on top of things. Like I get distracted a little bit. I don't get to that point where I can't keep, like, if I'm late, it's usually by like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that's the most it will be.
Right.
But, like human aunt, like for her, it's like she just can't, like, if it's work, sometimes she can push herself enough to be there
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
on time. But like, if it's just like visiting with somebody, she just doesn't show up. You kind of, and it leaves other people hanging.
Right.
And so, like, sometimes I'll be like, well, is she really coming at this time, or do I have time to go out and get my own groceries?
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, LT, I jaywalked again. So, for me, that's kind of one of the areas where I do struggle when it comes to my friends and family who have ADHD, and I do get a little impatient with that, and I understand it's a difficulty that is sometimes you can't really control it. It
Yeah.
helps me though, because if I know somebody has that diagnosis, I can be a little more understanding.
Yeah.
I could be like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what's going on. So then what I'll do instead is I'll be like, okay, so this person, I know they're going to be an hour late.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to wait for them to show up at 2 o'clock when I know they'll be here at 3, even if
Right.
they said that it's going to be 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as there's not some other pending time thing, I'll be like, okay, so I have like, I'll flex around it. Maybe 45 minutes I can flex with.
Yeah.
So that if I need to run to the store and get some snacks or something, there's time to do that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
mind making adjustments in my life like that. That's not
Yeah.
difficult for me. I can handle that. It's just I need to know ahead of time. If I
Mm-hmm.
know that person is going to be that, struggle that way, then, I can work with it as long as I know it.
Right.
So,
I
I respect the struggle. I know that there are some things that are just like things that I'm persnickety about because I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
You know.
I used to struggle a lot with time blindness.
Mm-hmm.
And then for whatever reason, like once I hit probably like maybe in my mid 20s
Mm-hmm.
to like early 30s, I really, like, I don't know if it was like my anxiety or something just like kicked into overdrive, and I started
Mm-hmm.
being more on time for things.
Mm-hmm.
To the
Yeah.
point where like I arrive like sometimes 30 minutes early, like 30 minutes to an hour early.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be so bad. Like in high school, like I was always late to school. I was
Mm-hmm.
always late to work. Like every single day I'd be late to work. Like no matter what I did. I
Mm-hmm.
would even try and like get up earlier, and for whatever reason, like something just happened to where like I was still late even though I got up like an hour earlier than I
Mm-hmm.
normally would. There was
Right.
something that I did at the house, or like something came up or whatever. Like I always was late. I could never get around it. And then for
Right.
whatever reason it just clicked and something changed, and I now I'm like super early to everything.
Yeah. Well, sometimes too, there's like hormonal changes that can impact that.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of times, we change over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Don't they say like
know,
every 7 years your body has completely replaced like all
right,
the cells or something in your
right,
body?
right. Like
Yeah.
something I do find. So I, I'm too empathetic for my own good. Like
Yeah.
this is just who I am. Like I pick up on people's feelings sometimes before they even realize it.
Yeah.
like borderline psychic level of this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just who I am. I pay attention. I'm very observant, and I care about people, and
Yeah.
I just care.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when I'm around enough, like if I'm with a big group of people who
Mm-hmm.
have ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I do actually start doing things like developing temporary time blindness, or
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost like it's almost like a code switching kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really kind of funny because like right now, like I have human mother at my house and I have
Mm-hmm.
Heather at my house, and they both
Mm-hmm.
have ADHD. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been noticing at work it's been a little bit harder for me to focus on things,
Yeah.
and it's like it's not their fault.
Right.
They can't help who they are,
Right.
but oh my gosh, it's kind of hilarious. Like I'll find myself being like, you know, easily distracted, and then I'll have to be like, oh wait, stop, like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know.
Um, so something that's like kind of weird, like I was thinking about this because you said that you kind of adapt to other people's like ADHD and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, something I've noticed that I tend to do is like whenever I watch a movie or a show,
Mm-hmm.
after I'm done watching that thing, I tend to feel like I'm still in that world a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
To the point where like if I watch a show about like somebody who's like really evil or like a really bad person or something like that, like I start to
Mm-hmm.
feel like I am that bad person. Or
Mm.
like like if there's a character that I really connect with, like I'll start to feel like I am that character. And I don't
Right.
know if that's like more autism or ADHD or something like that, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just like it's something that I've always kind of felt, and it's something that I kind of
Mm-hmm.
struggle with like switching tasks
Mm-hmm.
after something like that.
Right.
Because I feel like I should still be in that world that I was just experiencing.
Right.
Um, and it's I don't know if other people experience this or not. Like this is kind of the first time I'm talking about this with you,
That's
but
no, that's really interesting. Because like I don't get that way with movies necessarily, but with
hmm
books, like
yeah,
sometimes like if I'm really immersed in a book and I
hmm
finish the book, it's kind of hard to let go of the book
yeah.
and like the
Like
feelings that
I
evokes. And like if I read something that's more like where there's a character who's like evil or something, like I feel that icky feeling of that evil character for a
hmm
while afterwards, and sometimes I'll like even dream about it,
yeah,
or and me.
yeah.
So like I did not have the easiest um, childhood,
hmm
and I actually had a lot of nightmares when I was young, and it's gotten to the point where I can, like, I had so many nightmares and so many night terrors that I'm used to them now.
Yeah.
So like I will sleep through nightmares. It won't be pleasant, but I'll sleep through them, the entire things, because it's just like my body's like, oh yeah, it's this again, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just familiar to me to have nightmares now.
hmm
And so like it sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to be comfortable with having horrible images in my head of things that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've,
That's
yeah.
I was just gonna say that's like that's I have that same kind of issue, like how I was just talking about how I kind of identify with the characters and then I feel like I am that character.
Mm-hmm.
If I watch something scary or read something scary or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, I tend to have really awful dreams if I don't
Mm-hmm.
watch something else before I go to bed.
Right, right,
Because my brain just can't disconnect from that thing that I
right.
was experiencing.
Right. And I think for me, part of the reason why I actually write horror and horror
hmm
comedy is because I can get that out of my system. I don't have to hold it inside of me anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
And
most
I
definitely.
think more why I do horror comedy
Hmm.
Like I do a little bit of both, but more the horror comedy part, I do it because it's almost cathartic. Like I don't have to hold on to that horror anymore. I can turn it into something funny and I'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know? It's kind of odd. Like, you know, I think about Stephen King, you know. I mean, everybody knows who he is pretty much in the writing world. And a lot of
Hmm.
his a lot of the reason why he writes horror is because he had this experience as a kid where he
Hmm.
saw a friend of his get hit by a train or something.
Oh wow.
And like that's a pretty traumatic thing to go through,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
you know? And so, you know, it can be a way of like writing about it, or like
Hmm.
artists who do art like that. It's a way to get it outside of ourselves so that it
Yeah.
doesn't, you know, keep, we don't have to hold on to it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I used to do that a lot whenever I was like in my angsty teen years with drawing and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I used to draw a lot of angsty art growing up, and
Yeah.
it's yeah, it helps. Like it just makes you feel better whenever you can express those feelings in a
Right.
creative way.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, like if you look at H.R. Geiger's art,
Hmm.
like, I mean, it's pretty, like, abstract and creepy and weird, but, like, it's beautiful. But,
Yeah.
you know, it comes from somewhere, you know? Like, oh my gosh, why do people keep stepping in front of me? Goodness. I'm just trying to refill the bath gel. But, yeah, like, it's such a, it's like a coping mechanism in a way.
Yeah.
And you know, there are some really positive, like we talk about coping mechanisms sometimes, like, you know, especially in mental health, like, you know, there's some coping mechanisms people develop when they're going through a difficult time, and they serve them when they're going through that difficult time, but in normal situations they're actually quite harmful, and they shouldn't
Yeah.
be something that they use as a coping mechanism in the long term.
Yeah.
You know, something like having a gallows humor about things, that's actually a pretty decent coping mechanism, and it's not something you necessarily, you know, need to stop. But if it's
Yeah.
something like, you know, um, I don't know, having to like have the lights on at night and it's costing you loads of money, but because you're so traumatized you need to have the lights on, like at some point you got to work on that fear.
Yeah.
Like you can't just rely on the coping mechanism, you have to face the fear, so you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, like it is really hard for a lot of people to do stuff like that, but like
Right, right,
you can't always live in fear. Like there has to be something better for
right,
you, you know?
right. Like I know there are things that are like I definitely I struggle with
Hmm.
personally. And
Hmm.
a lot of that, like, you know, has to do with grief. It's hard to
Hmm.
let people get close.
It is, yeah.
And when I do let people get close, like, it's not a casual thing to me. I take those friendships and those relationships very seriously.
Yeah.
And it's not like, you know, like if I'm dating, I expect, oh, if I date this person, I'm going to marry them. Like that, no. But I do take the relationship itself, whatever the relationship it is,
Hmm.
very seriously. And so when other people treat my relationship with them as like not being valuable enough to like communicate with me about something, you
Yeah.
know, that it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I don't let certain people get close.
Hmm.
And then I've had times when I've let people get really close and I've found out that they you know, they'll ghost me or something out of nowhere,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like we put into a relationship what we want to get out of it too. So
right.
like if you're putting a lot of respect and care into your like romantic relationship, for example,
Mm-hmm.
like we kind of want that coming back from our partners.
Right, right,
We want we give what we want in a relationship.
right, right.
So
Yeah.
it's that's why I feel like it's hard sometimes for people to like when people have bad relationships, it's because they don't speak the same love language. Like they don't have the
Right,
same type
right.
of experience of, having those traumatic relationships where somebody has ghosted you or, having situations where people don't treat you the way that you want to be treated. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to make sure that you're finding people that you can trust with that kind of feeling because it's really hard whenever they trespass and they do things that you
Right,
don't want them
right,
to do. It
right,
does feel more traumatic and more
right.
like more negative whenever it's coming from somebody that you're trying to love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So yeah, I totally get that.
yeah. I mean, like, I had a friend ghost me recently, and I didn't know, like, did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
And, it wasn't. I eventually did get in contact with him, and it wasn't necessarily that I did anything wrong.
Mhm.
It was that he had to make a certain choice about something,
Mhm.
and instead of letting me know, hey, look, I'm not going to be around very much because I have to take care of this aspect of my life. He just didn't
Mhm.
tell me anything.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I 100%, if he just told me, I would have been absolutely, I care about
Right.
you, and
Mhm.
I would never want you to be in a situation where, I was getting in the way of you
Mhm.
having the thing you need in your life.
Yeah.
I would happily step aside. Like, I have friends, like, it's not uncommon for people who are on the spectrum to have
Mhm.
things in life where they'll, like, disappear for a while and then
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
And they'll see the friendship as being, the same thing as it was when they
Mhm.
left. They'll just pick up
Mhm.
where they left off. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Like I
Mhm.
get that. Like some I have a friend like that, and every time like she's back, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see you. How have things been?" Because
Mhm.
I know it's not intentional. I know it's not
Yeah.
meant to hurt. But she's also talked to me about that.
Mhm.
She's told me, part of it is just this is how I am because of my diagnosis, and
Mhm.
it's not
Mhm.
intended to harm or anything. It's just that I get, fixations, and I get, focused on something, and then I kind of forget to talk to my friends. You
Yeah.
know, knowing that,
Yeah.
that's enough.
Mhm.
You know, but
Yeah,
if
it's
somebody
like
doesn't tell me, like it hurts. It feels like I'm being, you know, like dumped.
yeah, it's like a respect thing, right? It's like
Right.
you want somebody to tell you like if something's going on so that like, hey, I'm taking a break from, this and this or like, I need some time to myself. Like you kind of expect to
Hmm.
have that type of respect from your friends.
Yeah, yeah.
So whenever they do just kind of disappear, you kind of wonder like, what did I do?
Right, right,
Um, and like you said, it wasn't necessarily your fault or anything, but it's just like you don't know that. Like you know what I mean? Like
right,
if somebody just disappears and doesn't say anything, you don't ever know.
right,
So
right.
yeah, I I like to call them my black days whenever
Mm-hmm.
my brain isn't working properly and I'm really depressed and anxious and all of this stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
I tend to, like you said, I just kind of disappear a little bit. Like you'll even see me like not in the Discord or something for a while.
Right,
Like I
right.
won't be replying to chats. I won't be,
Mm-hmm.
I won't be around. And it's like it's not that I don't care about you guys or that I don't like I don't want to talk to you guys. It's that like my brain literally won't let me focus on anything in particular. So I just
Right,
have to
right,
just exist kind of a thing.
Right.
Like
Right.
I can't do the things that I want to do. Like I can't keep up with people. I can't like I feel like everything is negative and nothing feels great. And I
Yeah.
try to like warn people whenever I start to feel like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Like
Same here.
like I think I've told you guys before whenever it's happened, like I'll be like, yeah, hey, sorry I haven't been around. I'm really having like a hard time right now. I try to do that. Like sometimes I forget. Like don't get me wrong, I've definitely accidentally ghosted some people, but like if they
Mm-hmm.
message me, like I always message back, you know.
Right.
Like immediately, I'm like,
Right.
oh hey, sorry, like I didn't realize
Right.
this has happened. Like I try to be as around as I can for the people that expect me to be there, but sometimes
Right.
it just happens like that. Like
Right.
you can't
Yeah.
focus on that stuff, you
Yeah.
know.
And this just felt kind of awkward, this situation, because this is somebody who, you know, was for months was referring to me as one of his best friends.
Yeah.
And then he disappears on me, and I'm like, and I'm not sure, because this person's particularly flirty. I'm not sure if he had feelings that were more than just friendship. I was
Mhm.
always very clear that I supported, whatever his relationships were with other people, and I was never
Mhm.
going to step in or interfere or anything because I don't do
Mhm.
that. Like
Right.
I was put in the position once of being the other woman without my permission. Like
Oh yeah. Yep.
cuz somebody lied to me
Mhm.
about who he was and what his intentions were.
Mhm.
And so I'm very careful about that, and I don't want to be in that position ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't if I care about somebody, I also care about the people that matter to them
Right.
because I know they're important to them. So why would I
Right.
mess that up?
Yeah. Exactly.
I would want to do my best to be there to make sure that all of their relationships are the best they could be.
Mhm.
I would never want to harm anybody's relationships that were important to them.
Right. I was actually my mom and I have been watching Smallville recently,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you've ever watched it, but
Mm-hmm.
so whenever Clark Kent is like going after Lana, for example, and Lana's in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and like somebody gives him the advice of like, hey, she's not married, they're just dating, like you can still go for it. Like I hate that kind of a thing. Like
Yeah, me
if
too.
you're if somebody's in a relationship, like why would you want to get in between like them and their partner? Like I don't understand that whole like, well, they're not married, so it's fair game. Like it's
Right.
not, it's really not.
People have
Like
told
it
me
just kind of
that
makes you,
too.
it makes you a jerk to do that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Like, if I care about somebody, I'm gonna care about what matters to them.
Mhm.
And I think again, that's why like I find it so charming. Like, how charming like certain qualities that people who have ADHD or autism have. Like I
Mhm.
find those qualities charming because it's about what they love.
Yeah. We're just little
And
sweeties.
right, right. And the reality is, like, for all that, the difficulties with certain social skills and stuff,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's like, you know, I can be sensitive to that. I can give a little space to that. I am not easily offended.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I have taught sex ed. If there is some area in the world where you learn how to not be offended, it is by teaching sex ed
Yeah.
because you have to deal with the most ridiculous stuff from
For
people,
sure, for sure.
you know like it's like it gets to a point where I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I
Yeah.
really don't care. I simply can't possibly care
Mhm.
any less than I care now.
Right.
um but yeah. Oh, the it's just the thing is, when I love people, I love them,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'll understand. Like
Mhm.
if somebody needs to take some time, I
Mhm.
understand.
Everybody needs time every now and then.
Yeah.
Like nobody's going to
Yeah.
be like a perfect,
Right.
tower of a person every single time, there's always
Yeah.
going to be days when you can kind of crumble and,
Right.
have bad days.
I mean, I have a chronic health condition that,
Mhm.
if I'm not taking care of myself, I get really tired.
Yeah.
And You know, actually, it's been triggered a lot lately. I've
Mhm.
just been overstressed, and
Mhm.
my body can only take so much.
Right.
So I get really fatigued, and I tend to, when I'm tired, I tend to kind of close in on myself.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's not, it can look like depression. It's not necessarily so.
Yeah.
It's just that it's very it is very much in the way that depression can be. It is hard to enjoy things.
Yes. Mhm.
And so, like, you know, I'm very aware of this, so I try to make sure, like, I have things that I can almost make myself do that are
Yeah.
enjoyable so that I can
Mhm.
kind of shake myself out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, or, you know, you know, it's just a matter of I know what my issues are, so I have to
Mhm.
regulate myself.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty self-aware, so I know when it's going on. And
Mhm.
you know, I think
Yeah.
that we should all just, you know, we all just have to do our best.
Yeah, everybody's
You
going through
know,
something. Like
right, right,
you have to be a little bit more kind to everybody, you know?
right, right.
Especially in this day and age where everything is so expensive and it's hard to live.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
absolutely.
yeah, it's just like so I had been on anxiety medication for quite a while
Mm,
prior to moving back home, and then I felt like it had too many negative side effects and it wasn't really helping
right, right.
anymore, so I stopped taking it for a while, but then I feel like I need it again or I need something different,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to kind of figure yourself out sometimes. Like I was talking to my therapist about like my issues that I've had recently, especially
Mm-hmm.
with like streaming and stuff like that. And she's like, "Yeah, it's anxiety." I was like, "That's what it is?" Like this
Mm-hmm.
thing that I thought I didn't have anymore, like this thing that hasn't been bothering me for a while, like that's what's bothering me now. Like how did I
Right.
not recognize this?
Well,
Cuz like
I
even
mean,
yeah,
you're performing in front of people
right.
on the
Right.
internet, and even if
Yeah.
whether you have a big or a small audience, that's pressure.
Yeah, but it's just
Yeah.
like even though I knew I suffer from anxiety and like all these other things, like I still didn't recognize it in myself. So sometimes
Right.
like
Right.
you think you know what your issues are, but until somebody kind of points out something, it doesn't necessarily click in your brain that that's what the issue is.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like it's you need to be kind to everybody because you never know like when somebody who even like your best friend
Right.
you know
Yeah.
you think you know how they are, like sometimes they might have something that's really bothering
Right.
them that they don't
Right.
even realize is bothering them,
Right.
and you kind of trigger it and then they get mad and you wonder like you wouldn't have gotten mad about that before, you know, like what's going on. But it's just like everybody's different and everybody has stuff going on, and sometimes people don't even recognize the things that are bothering them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
it's hard to know.
Right. It is for sure. And
Um
yeah, I'm actually trying to do the order, by the way, by just going by
oh, okay.
what's on the
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
So I just want to kind of try and see what happens instead of having you call out what we need to see how
Okay.
that
Yeah, go for
works.
it. Go for
Because,
it.
so the number in green is the number we have in stock in the back.
Yes. Is it?
So I'm ordering anything where it says 0.
Okay.
And that looks pretty accurate to what I saw in the back.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
So,
Yeah, you're right. I see that now. The
right.
products in boxes, that's what I was looking at before, but you're right, there is one that says product in stock in storage. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Right. But yeah, so like it's hard because, you know, because I've experienced a lot of grief in my life. I really value people a lot. You know,
Yeah.
whenever I have a phone call with human mother, like when I hang up, every time I talk to her, I do my best to remember to say I love you. Because you
Mhm.
never know when it's the last time you talk to somebody.
Exactly.
And I want to make sure she knows that. And
Mhm.
I know she'd know that anyway. Because I say
Mhm.
I love you to her all the time. and I
Yeah.
give her hugs, you know, and we do fun
Mhm.
stuff together, and it's, you know, it's a thing.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's like it's important to me that I'm making sure people know.
Yeah, yeah. I tell my best friends and like I tell my friends in general like that I love them whenever I get done talking with them on the phone and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right,
people that
right.
have been in my life for long periods of time, like it's no big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I do like I don't know why, but for people in my family, I tend to like forget to say stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
unless it's like spoken to me like directly. Like if somebody says I
Right.
love you, like I'll say I love you back. But yeah, like I don't know if it's just like I'm out of the habit of
Mm-hmm.
saying it or something like that, or
Right, right.
I don't know. It seems like there's something there that's like I forget to say it sometimes, and
Yeah, and I
it
think
does like
there's
kind of make me sad because I do want to be the type of
right,
person that like will tell people that they love them whenever they feel like it, or
right, right.
whatever. But
Well, I think we
yeah,
get
I
into
don't know.
certain patterns with family.
Yeah,
Like there's certain kind of expectations and things that we get used to.
yeah,
And like I have some more distant family members, like I wouldn't say that to them
yeah,
because it would be alien to them. It would
right.
be weird to them to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'll care about them, but like also maybe my relationship with them isn't close enough that,
Yeah,
you know, because I have a pretty big extended human family, and not all of them are nice people.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's how it is for a lot of families.
Yeah, yeah. And and part of the reason why they're not nice people is because they were not treated nice. And,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, I can't really fault them for that.
yeah,
You know, like that's just what happened in their experience. And,
yeah.
you know, again, it's like we have to understand that people come from different backgrounds and
Mm-hmm.
have different struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to understand that our struggles aren't the only ones there.
Right.
But you know, and it's for me, like I'm a little hesitant sometimes with friends because I don't know how well they receive that, if they interpret it to mean something more than it does.
Yeah. I
Because
guess
like
it's really like about how comfortable you are with that
right,
person.
right,
For me, like,
that
yeah,
and sometimes like especially like for like a woman with guys, it can
yeah,
get a
yeah.
little bit more awkward because they might assume something means a little bit more than it does. And
Why don't guys just like, like just learn to be better?
well, you know, so
Uh,
I do have a lot of compassion
yeah.
for this because, you know, I have my two human brothers, and,
Hmm.
you know, I think one of the problems is that guys really get taught that they have to be tough and not that
Hmm.
they can be, you know, soft and sweet and tender.
Yeah.
And, like, I love men who are like that. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
again, but that goes into, you know, me being the person I am. I love people who are expressive with their feelings.
Hmm.
I'm like that person who, like, I may be an introvert, but I love my extroverted friends. I
Yeah. Hmm.
love them. I think they are freaking awesome.
Hmm.
Like, you know, I appreciate them because they're the ones who, like, they're like the dwarves to my Bilbo, and they remind me to get out of the house because I actually
Right.
do like adventures, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love them. Oh, what's
My best friend's an extrovert, so yeah, I get
yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, LT, what's going on? Am I accidentally freezing the internet again? I'm sorry.
Gotta quit doing that.
Oh no, no, don't. Oh, salt in your eye. That's not good. Do you have like water or like saline solution? That might help. You don't want
Um.
salt in your eye.
Yeah, extroverts are like to me it's like a different breed of person. Like
Right, right.
like my best friend for example, like we got along so well because she is so outgoing, so she would take me out to do things and then I would be the one that was like kind of like, "Hey, maybe we should just stay in and relax, tonight." And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of kept her from overexerting herself a little bit.
Right, right.
And it's just like I forget what point I was trying to make with that, but like you kind of balance each other out to a point where it's more comfortable to be with that person because you kind of
Hmm.
what am I trying to say?
Well,
Like you
like
complement
for
each
example,
other so well that
right.
it works well.
It balances. Like what I
Yeah.
find too sometimes with my introverted friends,
Mhm.
they just automatically assume that I'm just going to be introverted about things all the time.
Mhm.
And so when they want to go out and like go to a party or something, they don't invite me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, why didn't you invite me? Sometimes I like to do that stuff. And then they're
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, but you don't usually like to do that kind of stuff. I'm like, that doesn't mean I'm that way all the time. My
Right.
extroverted friends, they'll just be like, hey, I know you don't usually do this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you want to go to this party? And,
Yeah.
I'll be like,
It's like
yeah,
even if I say no, I still would like to be asked.
right, right, right. And sometimes I do say yes. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes I'm in that kind of mood. I'll be like, maybe I do want to be around people. Maybe I do
Like
want to.
maybe I can put up with the general public today.
Right, right. Yeah. So like it's interesting. Like I like my extroverted friends who are persistent.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they're like, I know you don't like doing this thing usually, but is it cool? You want to do it
Mhm.
today?
Mhm.
And I'll be
Mhm.
like, you know what? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And there's like I think I just remembered what I was trying to say earlier too, is that like my extroverted friends, like they get really lonely whenever they haven't been around other people for a while.
Right.
And like it really affects their mental health a lot. Like my
Mm-hmm.
best friend, like we did so well because she always had me
Mm-hmm.
there because I was always home. You know what I mean? Like so if she needed to like talk to somebody, I was always there.
Right.
But then like whenever she needed to like go out and do stuff, by herself or whatever, like that was fine. Like I didn't care. I would just stay home and I was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like extroverted people, like they seem like they're, all happy go lucky and they like to be around a bunch of people and stuff like that. But they have like negative sides to it too. Like they need to
Mm-hmm.
have constant people around them or else they feel
Right.
really upset and discouraged and kind of
Right.
depressed.
Right.
But like I
Yeah.
could I could just sit at home by myself and be fine for, weeks at a time.
Right. Right.
But then
But
like
even especially with how the what I learned really from the pandemic was
mhm.
how much I do need people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I genuinely like I was even starting to feel kind of depressed because
Mhm.
I felt very lonely.
Yeah.
And um usually I don't feel lonely. Most of the
Mhm.
time I'm like fine. Like I don't generally need like a lot of attention, but
Right.
like when it got to the point where like I had to go back to work
Mhm.
and I had to get a new job, and I was
Mhm.
like, um, maybe this is a good thing, and it really helped my mental health. So
Yeah.
being an introvert doesn't mean you don't need people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Like you
it's
still need some people,
right,
but like
right.
you want to pick and choose those people.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
general public is not what you want. You want your special people.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're not so inflexible
Yeah.
that I think a lot of people just misunderstand. Things like introversion or extroversion, things like the MBTI, Myers Briggs,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, their tendencies. It's like the Pirates Code. They're not rules. They're guidelines.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just, this is my tendency. It's not
Right.
set in stone so much that I can't work outside of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Do we want to do some new products?
We could. We have tons of money and we already ordered everything. So,
Right, and we have 4 franchise points available.
ooh,
We
okay.
could. We don't have 5 yet for the basic products, but we
Mm-hmm.
can do some more hygiene. And the
Mm-hmm.
hygiene section, like, we can put in more shelves. Like, there's plenty of room there.
Yeah, there is. You're right.
Or we can
We could
do more
also put a shelf
hand.
next to the sweets and snacks too.
Right, right. And there's
I
definitely.
think. Hold on, let me look real quick. So there's 5 things, and 4 things fit on a shelf. So we would actually need 2 shelves if we were doing sweets and snacks.
Mm-hmm.
But we could like put it on the back side of the current
Right,
sweets and snacks where we
right,
are. I was trying to see if there's anywhere that we could like take a shelf uh from a rack
right.
that we have like doubled up stuff, but the only thing I see is like the dog food, for example.
Right.
Um and then did we yeah, we don't have anything else that's doubled up other than that and like the toilet paper and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Right.
could potentially move the pet food or just leave it where it is, and because we could like swap these two
Mm-hmm.
shelves right here, like swap the pet food to put where the salt and pepper and eggs and stuff are.
Another thing we can
Uh,
do is move the pet food near the hygiene section.
that's true.
We can have it at
um
the wall opposite. Then we can have an aisle in between for more hygiene stuff.
yeah, that's true. um Let me think, because if we
Look at us being responsible business people who are planning
right
things
right
out.
right um Yes, I mean we could do that for either thing. So we could do it for either sweets and snacks, or we could do it for hygiene, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we
Well,
would only have to buy
I,
1 shelf instead of buying two
right. I think
shelves.
we have enough money to buy 2 shelves, so I would say buy the two
Just do
shelves.
it. Okay.
Yeah. And then when we get more of the basic products, when we unlock
Mm-hmm.
that next one, we
Mm-hmm.
can clear out the pet food section. So that's near all the other more basic products.
Right.
It'll be a little bit easier. And then the pet food section can have its own area.
Right. Um, I'm kind of looking here. So I'm just seeing like what items are coming in future
Mm-hmm.
after we unlock these things. So if we do hygiene, after that comes cleaning products and then books.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning products could kind of go with the hygiene thing, like
Right.
the aisles a little bit.
Right. And
Sweets
they're
and
often
snacks
like,
just kind of ends, so it doesn't have anything coming after it
right. And
that would kind of
sometimes
tie
even
in with
the
other
like the
stuff.
book section is near the hygiene and cleaning
Yeah, yeah,
products too in
usually.
most stores.
Yeah, it's
So
like its own kind of
yeah.
thing. So maybe we should just expand our hygiene for now.
Mm-hmm.
You cool with that?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
Just put.
That also opens up like if we want to get another employee, we could.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could like do the first cleaning products or whatever if we still have
Right.
money.
So I clicked on
Um,
that and it says we still have 3 franchise points.
what the heck? How? I don't understand this thing. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
really weird.
let's set up the hygiene first. I'll
Yeah,
order. Do you want to set up the shelves?
sure, sure.
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay. Let's do
Oh my
this.
gosh, we have other toilet papers now. We
Um,
have the doo-doo toilet paper.
let me see. So that's 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4.
I
So
think
if I do it like
this.
right on this line, it'd be okay. Keep
Okay.
hitting the wrong buttons to place these stupid shelves. Okay.
So a lot of the hygiene products are more bottled things.
Oh, okay.
So, like we have baby shampoo. What we might
Yeah.
want to do is move the toilet paper over to these shelves
Okay.
and then
We can do
have
that.
like the shampoo stuff over here.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get a box and start moving the toilet paper.
Okay.
I'm glad we've kept these empty boxes for this stuff.
Right. And then we have some other toilet papers as well, some new ones.
Oh, okay.
And they're like bigger.
Do we want to
toilet
do like 2 of each? 2 shelves of each?
papers.
Would that be
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
We can put some of
Um.
the other ones in storage.
Oh, you little. Okay, hold on a second. You need to not be working right now. You need to quit. He just restocked what I was taking away.
Oh no.
Because of the
Good
shelf, like
job.
it memorizes what was on it. Um, okay.
Good job,
So,
Theodore Prudence Smith the Third.
yeah, whatever your name is.
Whatever is overcomplicated.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Double-sided toilet paper. Wait, how isn't all toilet paper double-sided? Like what?
there is single ply toilet paper.
Yeah, but this
I
is
mean,
double side.
oh, you're right. Yeah,
And
sided is a
it's
weird
funny.
word to
So,
use.
do you know French very well?
Not really.
Okay, so the name of this toilet paper is doo-doo. It's D-O-U.
Yeah.
So, sounding to an American, it sounds like somebody's saying doo-doo. So it's
Right.
appropriate because, poop.
Yeah.
But doo-doo, D-O-U, it means soft.
Oh.
So it's soft toilet paper.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's
And then we
weird
have
the things that you
compact.
learn when you have relatives who marry people from other countries.
What is on this packaging of this compact? It's like a brown smear on the front of this toilet paper.
I mean, appropriate maybe?
I don't get why they would put that on the package.
Mm-hmm.
That's very concerning. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have had to use our empty boxes for storing some of that toilet paper.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to place another shelf down, or
Yeah,
I guess how much?
we can start emptying some of these things. So I'll put the baby shampoo here.
Okay.
There's
go grab the other stuff.
There's another soap, so maybe we might want to move over one of the shampoos.
Yeah.
And I
there's
ordered
also-
extra. I ordered extra of some of the shampoos, so
Okay. Okay.
because there's a lot, so I'm gonna move the
Baby
avocado
shampoo.
shampoo over as well. So
Okay.
we have space for the hand soap.
So this is bath gel. So we have the other bath gel that's at the bottom
Yeah.
there. So we could maybe
So
move.
we can move all these shampoos.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just start bringing boxes in.
Okay.
And then we can figure it out. So yeah, if you end up with an empty box, make sure to save it because the other boxes are full.
Right.
There's this one, lemon soap. We could put all the soaps together too. We have a couple different soaps now.
That's why I'm putting the avocado. I'm moving the avocado soap or shampoo over because that can go there.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite like scent of soap that you prefer?
Ooh. So just in scented stuff in general, like perfumes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very partial to citrus scents.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really like citrus scents a lot.
Yeah.
And okay, you know what? This is mango soap, so maybe I'll move the mango soap over too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. Oh. So we have our soap aisle, our soap shelf. So I like citrus a lot. I love magnolia.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Magnolia is just like, it smells really good on me. I love rose, but it doesn't smell as good on me as magnolia does.
Yeah.
Usually when I like scents, I like them to be very simple and identifiable. Like if something's really complex, like a lot of like, really like strong, well-known perfumes like Chanel No. 5 or Samsara or stuff like that are more like the exotic scents. They don't smell good on me. They're overpowering. They're just too strong. They smell great on my mom. Human mother, like her body chemistry is different from mine. I don't know if it's because she's diabetic,
It's
but
possible.
but think like citrus stuff doesn't really smell like much on her.
Hmm.
Um, but it suits me really well.
Mm-hmm.
So like yeah, so I like those kind of bright kind of smells. I
Mm-hmm.
like very gentle floral scents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Magnolia is probably the strongest of all of them that
Mm-hmm.
I can wear well. Um, but I like kind of fruity scents too.
Yeah.
Like for example, Bath and Body Works puts out their vampire blood uh, scented stuff every
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
That stuff, oh my gosh, I love the smell. It's like red berries and I think it's either honeysuckle. I think it's jasmine
Yeah.
and something else like slightly vanilla-ish,
Mm-hmm.
and that smells really good on me. I always get compliments.
Yeah.
And it's funny too because like I know it's cheap stuff compared to like I used to wear when I was really into like getting um fancy perfumes. Like I used to like to wear J'adore.
Yeah.
That was one that I really liked. Um I'm
Do
trying
we
to
want
think
to
of
put soap on this shelf, or do we want to put the bath gel? What do you want to do?
let's
Because
put the soap
we have
on
three
that.
soaps. Soap. Okay.
And then we can put the bath gel starting there and coming over to the top here,
Okay.
I guess. Something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, like I guess, my body chemistry, like usually people think I smell good anyway. I mentioned that before.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of naturally have, I guess maybe it's because I have kind of a neutral body scent.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but
I think they also say like your body, um, if somebody smells good to you, that means that you're like chemically
compatible.
pretty compatible with that person.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what they say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard that too, um, which is interesting
Mm-hmm.
because older human brother, like I do
Mm-hmm.
not like how he smells at all,
Yeah.
and we don't get along very well.
Yeah.
We're just too like I'm too stubborn and too sensitive,
Yeah.
and he's also too stubborn and hypercritical.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks I'm hypersensitive. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
hypercritical. It's just a bad matchup between two people.
Yeah.
Okay, do we need more of any of these? I think we're out of. We could probably fill up the baby shampoo
Yeah, and then I
and
noticed like the lemon soap doesn't have very many because it's
yeah.
a smaller bottle. So we could probably do
Okay,
with two lemon soaps. And
2 lemon
then
soaps.
the new body gel. Oh, I noticed this is for men. It's a men's body gel.
Oh my!
Um yeah, and the baby shampoo, I think.
And I'll get 2 more of the toilet papers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um
All right, I got them.
is there another hygiene after this? No, there isn't.
I don't think so.
Okay, so we have some open shelves over here. So what I'm thinking um should we move the toothpaste? Because this is all the hygiene that we're gonna get.
Yeah, move it to the bottom maybe, and then we have that
Yeah,
shelf open.
yeah. We could either put more toilet paper there, or we could just leave it open for something else.
I mean, the toilet paper goes fast, so
Yeah, it
we might
does.
as well.
Maybe we could do like one shelf of each toilet paper.
Right.
or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like what would be the best use of that space
Right. I think that
without
sounds
making
good.
it look too crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't believe we have only one toothpaste. You'd think there would be more toothpaste with how many
Yeah,
choices there are in the world.
right. We have sensitive
We
kind
have like 5
and
shampoos and 1 toothpaste. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
right, right. Yeah, I actually use prescription toothpaste.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I have good teeth. Like I take
Mm-hmm.
really good care of my teeth,
Mm-hmm.
but my enamel's a little bit like worn away.
Oh, yeah. It happens.
So, part of it is I'm a little enthusiastic when I brush my teeth. So, like,
Yeah.
I switched to an electric toothbrush, and,
Mm-hmm.
I like my mouth to feel clean, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, so I have to use prescription toothpaste that has, like, a higher level of fluoride in it.
Yeah.
So
I
that I don't get cavities. I usually like I never really usually got cavities, but I guess because the enamel wore away, I started
yeah.
needing to, you know.
Yeah, I don't because of, my various issues. I do tend to kind of forget to brush my teeth as often as I should.
Mhm.
So my teeth aren't as white as they normally be, but I do go to the dentist regularly. So
Right, right.
I do have good like oral health.
Mhm.
It's just like they're not as white as I would like them to be.
Right, right.
Um, but it's not everything in the world. I mean, they're not like brown. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're off white. They're just not super
Yeah.
bright white.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I was thinking about actually doing teeth whitening at some point.
I've done
But
that, but
yeah.
I think my teeth are already quite white. Like they're not
Mm-hmm.
perfectly white, but
Mm-hmm.
like they're like a pearly white, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, it does what it does, you know.
I thought that there was like a new type of toothpaste that they developed that had, it wasn't fluoride, but it was something else that helps like rebuild your enamel.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know
I've
what
heard a
that
few
other
things
ingredient
about
is.
that, but I
Yeah.
don't know how effective it actually is.
Yeah, I
I know
haven't really
there's
heard
been
much
some
about it.
research in that kind of a thing, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't really I don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah, I don't
I
either.
think there's also I know that there's been research on gums. Like,
Mm.
people get receding gums. I think I heard
Mm-hmm.
about some like research in China that they're working on something so that people can like regrow their gums or something. That should
Interesting.
probably be great. It'll probably help people to not need dentures.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I'd
Yeah,
rather not have dentures.
I didn't have dental insurance for a long time, and
Mhm.
my gums got pretty bad.
Mhm.
Just from not remembering to brush my teeth and stuff. Like your oral health is very important.
Yes.
Like don't
Brush your
listen.
teeth, friends. Don't listen
Like
to us.
yeah,
Don't have our
do as I
problems.
say. Do as I say. Don't do as I do. But
Right.
like I've been awful about brushing my teeth. So I used to have that issue with like my gums. My gums have gotten better. Like I don't have like my teeth don't bleed anymore whenever I brush my teeth, which
Oh,
is
well,
good.
that's good. Yeah.
Like gingivitis or whatever it's called.
Right, right,
I don't have that issue anymore. But
right.
yeah, like I don't know. I don't know if it's just because like I never got in the routine of brushing my teeth,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't become like a thing that I remember to do all the time. Like
Right.
I usually remember it whenever something else triggers it. Like if I take a shower, for example,
Mm-hmm.
I'll brush my teeth after taking a shower, or if I'm leaving
Right.
the house, I'll brush my teeth before I leave the house.
Right.
But like I don't remember to do it like before I go to bed, or like whenever you normally would brush your teeth. I
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
I try to do as much as I can.
I can't go to sleep without my teeth brushed. I feel like
Really.
really awful if I don't have my teeth brushed.
Mhm.
I I have to floss my teeth as well. Like, it
Oh
feels
yeah.
weird to not have my teeth flossed. And it's
Mm-hmm.
funny because when I was younger, I didn't floss my teeth,
Yeah.
but I got into the habit of it, so that now if I don't floss, it just feels really icky to
Mm-hmm.
me. So I don't know. It's funny, what our habits, our habits teach us and our habits do to us. We just get used to
Yeah.
certain things, and then it's like, oh, yeah, I guess that's the thing.
Yep. I'm buying another shelf here so we can have like one shelf per toilet paper. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Um, because then we can have like full. We don't have to worry about running out and like
Yeah.
having to restock it all the time.
Once we have this fully stocked, do you want to stop for the evening? Because,
Yeah, I'm good with that. It's getting pretty
yeah.
late.
Yeah, I actually have an appointment in the morning at 8, so I
Oh,
definitely need to get to sleep.
okay.
And then I am taking Heather on a little adventure
Ooh, what are you doing?
tomorrow. We are going to go visit a school.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, an opportunity for her to maybe get some training in a cool field and, you know, look at, maybe having a job that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
So, she can be like me, where she has a day job and she does her streaming as well.
Mm-hmm. 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 Do you want to go ahead? Well, I'll do it. I'm right here. I'm just gonna buy another couple
Okay,
boxes
I'm
of
going
that
to wait for
new.
them to drop on my head. Whee! Each time it rains, it rains. Boxes from heaven. Shooby dooby.
Okay.
I do that too much. I'm amazed people aren't more annoyed with me. You're welcome. It's okay to be annoyed with me. Sometimes I'm annoying. It's
Nah,
it's
you're
all
good.
right.
All right. So we need somewhere to put this stuff. This extra overstock.
All right.
Um, maybe I'll buy another storage shelf real quick. Like that. And then we can just put, whoops, we can put our new
Yeah.
stuff on it. Yeah, this compact toilet paper, the packaging just really confuses me.
Yeah. I mean,
It just,
yeah. What is that? Is it supposed to be like? It looks like an eyeball. Is it an octopus?
I don't
Like,
know.
what do they think is coming out of our bodies?
Yeah,
Like,
who
what is
knows?
that?
Yeah, I like the little mole on the doo doo.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
He's
that
cute.
was cute. See, that's good marketing. This
Yeah,
is like, what is it?
yeah. Is it chocolate? Is it poop?
All
Like
right. Like,
what
what
is
really
it?
is
Paint?
it?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how I feel about it. Like the
This
other one, like the Petas looks
mhm.
aquatobe.
Apparently you can flush the tube.
Ah, interesting.
I didn't
It's
realize that was a
format
thing.
times 12. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
And
we have the
then,
bidet.
yeah. I
Glow in the
mean,
dark. What? It says
what?
it says it's glow in the dark.
It's glow in the dark toilet paper? I'm not sure what I think about that. Do I really want chemicals in my toilet paper that I wipe myself? Would that make me glow in the dark in that area? Like, I'm not sure it's
That's
a good
true.
idea.
Only where you wipe.
Yeah. I guess that helps you to tell if you wiped correctly.
Yeah, if you got it
Maybe.
all. Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
We
Well,
could
that's exciting.
probably, if we want to have the lemon soap fully filled in, we might want to do one more.
Yeah, okay. We'll do that and then I think we're good. Everything's fully stocked. What's his name? Oh, I had him turned off though, I guess. Um we'll get him turned back on next time.
I love the built-in board for controversy perfume.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What does controversy smell like, I wonder?
It smells like sweaty VTubers. I mean, there's always some controversy going on in the VTuber
Yeah, that's
world.
true. There's always something, and it's like you never know where it's gonna come from next.
Right. Oh my god, we could actually buy one more lemon soap. That's crazy.
Are you serious? Oh my
I'm
gosh.
serious.
Okay.
It goes all the way to the edge.
Those bottles are so small.
Mm-hmm.
All right, one more. I'll take it in. That's crazy.
Yep.
I wonder how many's on the shelf. I'm curious to look. I could probably do the math, but I don't want to.
No, you can just look at the billboard or
Let's
the
see.
blackboard, rather.
252.
All right. So if I do the rest of them, oh no, you already did them.
I did it. Yeah, I did it.
Okay.
But yeah, there's 252 out there. That's crazy.
We are gonna be the best store.
Yeah.
We're gonna be
the mango
so
soap,
best at besting best things that are best.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
I guess there's also 252 of the mango soap, so maybe they're the same size bottles.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe it's just the angle, because we can crouch in this game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
it does
if
look
we
like the
go
bottles
over
are
here
smaller, but maybe they are the
and
same.
we crouch. Yeah, they look about the same.
Sapu and moose.
Slurp.
Okay. Well,
It's funny looking at you crouch, because like your arms go up.
yeah.
Like mine probably are too, I'm guessing. It's almost like some kind of weird little Oompa Loompa dance.
Yeah. You're bracing yourself
Right.
when you go down, your arms come out. Yeah. That's funny.
That's so silly.
All right.
Okay.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah, we played for a while.
Yeah, we did 5.5 hours.
Oh my god, we really did that. I
Yep.
think I needed that though, because I needed some chill out time to not think
for sure.
too hard. Although, gosh, you give me chill out time to not think too hard, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna do a lot of thinking in that non-thinking chill out time.
Yeah.
Like all the things we talked about. Like,
Yeah, we talked about some heavy stuff today.
Right.
A little bit.
Right. Oh no, I'm so sorry, LT. I am sorry that I have my ice powers are disrupting the Here, let me check something real quick. Okay, it looks like my Wi-Fi is okay. Cuz there's like only 7.2% dropped frames. It's not bad right now.
Yeah. You could try turning down your bit rate in OBS, and it might help that dropping frames a little bit next time.
Yeah. Where do I do that? Tools?
So I can tell you here. It's if you go to settings and then output. Do you have it as basic or advanced at the top?
Twitch enhanced broadcasting is controlling some of your stream settings.
Oh, you're on output under settings?
Yes. I see video bitrate is 6,000 kbps.
Yeah, you might want to turn it down. Try 550 next time, or 5,500.
Okay.
That's what I did, and it tend to work better. I don't know if you can change it right now because you're streaming, but
yeah, it's not letting me.
Yeah.
I'll fix that at the end.
Yeah, just do that. Turn it down about 500, and then if you're still having issues, do like another 100 or so, and see. Just keep going until you stop dropping frames.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't mind turning it down a little bit. I mean, everything seems pretty fun.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any real quality issues or anything with my stream since I've lowered mine. So I think it's not a huge deal.
Yeah. And if it helps anybody a little bit, that's fine. I don't mind fixing things. It's what it is. I want to make sure people who want to watch live can watch live.
Yeah, I went from dropping like 5 to 10% of my frames to none. I drop no frames now. So it's pretty good.
I'll fix that, and then so I can check to see how it looks tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
And
You streaming tomorrow?
I am. I'm doing my co-working stream.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Pretty light. Not something where I have to do too much. I'll just continue working on. I've been reading a lot of our submissions. We're still kind of going through that. And Yeah, we have a couple more novels to go through that are like initial submissions. So usually when you submit,
Mm-hmm.
just in case people are curious.
Yeah.
Watching you move around, it's cracking me up. Um, so usually, like when you submit something to a publisher, they'll ask for a certain amount of words. So at
Hmm.
Balance of Seven, we ask for 10,000 words. Most
Okay.
novels, like will be somewhere between like around 80,000
Hmm.
words.
Hmm.
That's just to give the press an idea of what the book is like, what the story is like, whatever.
Right. Right.
And then when they decide to accept the book, they'll ask for the full manuscript so they can read the entire manuscript and then make a full decision.
Yeah.
Some books, like it's obvious, it's so good, like we're probably going to take it, you know.
Hmm.
But some books, like you kind of want to read through the whole thing to
Hmm.
see if there's any kind of weird stuff at the end that needs to be fixed.
Right.
If something kind of odd pops out. We had one book, or I was in the editing process of one of our books, and
Hmm.
I got halfway through, and the author used a word for the author used a word for cowardly, the
Hmm.
word yellow,
Hmm.
but the hero character was using this word, and people don't usually use the word yellow. It's not a
Yeah.
popular word to use these days for cowardly. You mostly just see it in old westerns.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she was referring to a character who was Asian, and
Oh.
it was like, that's a really bad word choice. There are so many other
Mm.
words to use to describe someone's behavior as cowardly.
Hmm.
So, considering they were referring to someone who was Asian, it's like, you really have to change this word
You have to be really
because
careful.
right, especially because our publishing company, it's really important for us to we try to publish books from people who are from marginalized communities. We don't want
Right.
our authors to write something that would be considered racist.
Hmm.
So, and the thing that was crazy was there was another author who we had do the developmental edits, and they pointed out that same thing, and the author still didn't fix it.
Oh, jeez.
Like, what did they think was going to happen, that we were going to publish their final book without fixing that word?
Yeah, you just forgot.
Yeah, like, no, we're not going to we're not going to do that. It's
Right.
so inappropriate.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you got to kind of check for certain things like that,
Hmm.
because we don't want to publish something that is, potentially offensive. We do have one book by one of our authors
Hmm.
who she decided she wanted to do a page of trigger warnings because her story was pretty dark.
Yeah.
And we were totally for that. Like, she wanted to tackle a darker subject.
Hmm.
But she knew it wasn't going to be easy for people, and so she wanted to address that very
Right.
purposefully, and that was okay because she was conscious of it.
Hmm.
And that's a little different from somebody who just doesn't want to change it because they don't feel like it.
Yeah.
When there's like a thesaurus out there, and there's like at least a dozen different words you could use instead of yellow for cowardly.
Right. 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 Right.
you
Yeah, for
know
sure.
so you have to look out for things like that, and it's hard. I think that the hardest thing that I've had to deal with submissions is somebody submitted to. So, okay, I'm going to give you guys some really quick advice. If you ever want to be published, first thing you do when you submit your writing to a publishing company, find out what kind of books they publish. Do not just send your book to every publishing company, because they might not publish books in your genre. Do
Hmm.
not always actually follow their submissions guidelines. The different companies might have different submission guidelines. Do not try to shortcut around that, because the reason why they have submissions guidelines is because of how much time it takes to read all the submissions. And it also tells the company if you are the kind of author who is willing to accept, working within the framework of the publishing company. Like, are you going to be somebody who accepts edits,
Yeah.
You also want to make sure, if you do send out your submission to multiple companies, so do a BCC, so blind CC.
Yes.
So I had somebody who submitted outside of our submissions period. So he sent something before submissions were open. Never send books to publishers when they are not accepting submissions. You are not that special.
Right.
They will not make an exception for you.
Right.
Unless they have worked with you before and they know who you are. Right? So he sent his submission outside of our submissions dates. He CC'd about 100 other publishing companies. So I saw every single publishing company he submitted it to. The book was like some kind of weird nonfiction self-help meandering thing. And we don't publish that kind of stuff.
Right.
He sent it to like Harlequin. And we all know Harlequin only publishes romance. Like, I was looking at all of these different companies this person sent the submission to. Like, he did not research these companies. All he knew is that they existed. And so he put them all on the submissions.
Yeah.
We had to tell him no, because he didn't even follow instructions.
Right. Like, that's how you get blacklisted.
Right. Well, the crazy thing is, he submitted another book to us again.
Oh my God.
After he argued with us, after we told him no, and, please submit correctly.
Yeah.
So we put him on our blacklist. We are never publishing him. And not only that, but one of the publishing companies that he CC'd to instead of BCC'd to, responded to him and replied all.
Oh God.
So every single publishing company saw that person's response.
Yeah.
So that they were not publishing the book.
Yeah. Wow.
So imagine how embarrassing that is as an author for all those other publishing companies to know that they're not publishing your book.
Yeah, right. Like, honestly, if you're that ignorant to how stuff works,
right?
I bet he didn't even realize that everybody else could see that reply.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I doubt.
And the person, it's funny too, because that person who responded to him then also said, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't realize I hit reply all." So they acknowledged in a second email they didn't do that. So obviously the guy had to know at that point.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
So when you submit your book, you are taking the time of whatever editor is reading your submission. So you need to be respectful and polite. It hurts. It does hurt to get a rejection. That's gonna happen. It doesn't mean your writing is bad. It just means that maybe it's not the right time or the right publisher for you. That's it. Like, it doesn't necessarily reflect badly on you.
Yeah.
The point is to always, continually work on your craft and, get feedback from people and try. There's so many publishers out there. Like, not just the big publishers. There are so many small presses. And, some people actually, it's better for them to self-publish, if they want that level of control. So, just, it goes back to the thing I said about kindness. The way how you interact with people reflects on you.
Right.
People usually tend to think very kindly of me because that's how I treat them.
Yeah.
I get complimented at work all the time because people will say, gosh, I always feel so good when I come here because you make it feel like a comfortable place. People will tell that to my boss, that they like me because they feel like they're comfortable with me. And, and that has to do with being, how you present yourself to people.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
always, personally, professionally, always do your best to present yourself well, and people will respect you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's really quite simple, and I want people to feel respected. So, I care about the people who are watching,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want them to be able to go out in the world and be able to be people who other people will be like, you're a pretty cool person. I like you.
Right.
I respect you. I feel good being around you,
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of community I want. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Climbing up there. Anyway, we should finish up.
Yep. All right.
I went on my little, I think my little, soapbox.
You know what? We didn't end this day. We need to end this day before we close because we'll lose the progress.
Right.
Let's do that real quick, and then we can end.
Do we have any thieves? We were robbed!
Yeah,
Yay!
I was beating people down with my broom.
Nice. All right. Success.
All right. Well, Aspen, thank you so much for today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ocha.
We will do this again soon.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll figure out. Yes, and I have to raid. I have to find somebody to raid.
Yep.
Here, I'm going to hang on a sec. I have to pull up. Here, I am going to quit game. Yes. Yay! All right, and I am going to my just chatting screen. So, yeah, here. Yeah, Ocha and I are in a different position on this screen. Hang on a second. I will fix this in just a second. I'm gonna do this and fit to screen. There we go. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, have a really good night, Ocha. I will talk to you probably, if not later on tonight, I'll talk to you tomorrow. we talk a lot. So yeah, and I'm just gonna try to find who is streaming right now. I usually try to go to somebody who has a few less people. Let's see. Oh no, okay. I can send you guys over to Swimming Link.
Yeah.
Because a lot of you guys already know who Swimming Link is because you've seen Swimming and Mewtwo collab. So let's do that. And alright, have a really good night, Ocha.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so yeah, night, you guys. Thank you for being here. I'm always happy to have you guys here, and yeah, and it looks like Swimming Link just started, so we'll be going in right at the beginning. Okay, so let's see. Is that all good? There we go. Start raid. All right. Have a wonderful night. And take care of yourselves. And see you tomorrow.
I have no way of seeing anything right now. Shit, no. I can't see anything.
Oh no.
Hold on, I'll pull you up on mobile.
Welcome to the kiddie pool, Gilded Sun.